Hello and welcome to the third round of the 2013 Virtual V8 Supercars Championship. We are here live from Symmons Plains for this third round of 10 in the championship. And once again, I'm joined by Mr. Danny Asbury.
How's it going, Ryan? Round one we saw that obviously the precision dominance. Round two, THR were on it, so it's great to see how this championship is developing. And so I'm very much looking forward to round three here at Symmons Plains.
It really has been to and fro between the two dominant forces in TouringProSeries at the moment over the past few months, really, with precision just about needling ahead, you would say, but THR fighting back very strongly in recent weeks, not just at Barbagallo, but at Rockingham in the third round of the Thomas Cole Clio Series also. So it's really very much on between THR and precision. But we've got a couple of drivers here today. We've got, of course, Brent is driving for THR this season. Just quickly go into the game for you. Brent is driving for THR this season. He was pole position last year, for those who remember watching that broadcast. But look who's back on form, Danny. Florian Strauss, 2011 champion.
It's absolutely great to see this. And there's about, through the week of testing, there might have been only about 5 drivers to get into that 49 range, or maybe 5, 6 drivers. So, and Brent has been number 3 the whole week. Strauss has been number 2, and Rietveld has been number 1. However, I think that 49.6 you're seeing there at the top of your timesheets is the fastest time we've seen so far through testing. So those are the big 3 we're looking at here, Ryan. Then obviously we have Keelov. Sasha Glader has been very strong. Robert Godica there in 6th, and Toby Davis is a bit quicker there than 9th, but it's going to be a very interesting race here. And even though the times are, you're seeing maybe a 4/10 difference from 1st to 4th, it's all going to come down to the race right now, who can keep the tires on the longest, because talking to drivers, that's going to be a huge issue here at Symmons Plains.
And it's so bumpy at this track as well. It's a similar circuit. We'll go on board actually with somebody and just show you a lap around here. Let's go on board with Florian Strauss, in fact. And we're just going to show exactly how bumpy this track is, Danny. I mean, you didn't race here last year, but you have driven this track. And although it's a very short, fast track, just like Barbagallo, it's very different in character, isn't it?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You look at the lap times from this track to Barbagallo, they're very similar. And obviously, it's a very short track, very tight track. But talking to the driver is very much different, Ryan, because you have to change the setup. Not significantly, but there are definitely some features you have to change with the suspension to get the car to run here at Symmons Plains, because yes, it's a very bumpy track, and you have to get the car set up for this hairpin that we're getting up to here, right up here. This is a huge feature on the track. You've got to get the car working through here. If you cannot get the car loaded and turned into that corner, you're going to have a slow lap here. That turn makes your time here.
There's one thing I'm noticing about actually riding on board here. I did this experiment earlier, just before the broadcast, riding on board with Matti Orban, and his car was jumping up and down, and his car front wheel was locking up into the hairpin. Obviously, Florian's locked up ever so slightly, so he's Taplin just losing it on the practice lap ahead of Florian Strauss. Taplin making his debut in Division 1. But Florian's is not locking up or bouncing around anywhere near as much as Matti Orban's car. It looks a lot more pliant. Let's go on board with Matti Orban, and if he's on track. He is on track. He's also already there. He's a bit more locked up already at that apex, and we'll see as we go through the final couple of corners, and hopefully through the first corner, and then through turn 3 also, which is the right-hander onto the back straight, onto the, well, kind of several straights in this track. Yeah. I guess it's the first straight after you start the lap. But there's luckily more lockups there. Oh, Matti Orban's gone a bit wide that time around. But as you see, he's going to come around into the first turn now, through the final turn, and that's a very difficult corner because you can run right out wide and you lose all that time. And look at that! Look how much more play there is in that suspension. How much more it's making him make mistakes.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. That's why so many drivers talked about the tire wear and how it's going to play a big dividends here. So even if you can turn a fast lap, like you said, Ryan, if you get all that lock and whatnot, and the car's going all over the place, then you're simply not going to be able to do that for at least 20-something laps, which are 21 laps, which we're looking at for a stint here. So yes, it's all about being smooth. And I guess Strauss looks very good here. I'm very curious to see what the 2011 champion can do, because obviously he's been nowhere through the first 2 rounds. Hopefully he's got that car hooked up where it can do nice, consistent race stints.
It looks like it is being as well. It looks like he's just saying the same lines lap after lap, nice and smooth, rotated the car very well through that hairpin. And of course, like you're saying, he's not been in great form to start the season. Got a completely new setup, so he's really struggling with that. He didn't race here in 2011 either, so 2012, sorry, should I say. Here, well, talking about 2012, Danny. William Levesque, of course, won that race in 2012. A pretty dominant win. It was a great end of the year for William Levesque. Of course, we lost William Levesque from the championship. In fact, we lost William Levesque from TouringProSeries, taking umbrance towards a penalty, a just penalty, by everybody else's eyes apart from William Levesque. But he's decided to quit TPS altogether over that very small matter, which several people have pretty much denounced. But this track also saw a great run from Adrian Hulme last season. He was as quick as William Levesque, only being held up in behind Toby Davis early on stopped him from challenging for the win. Finished 7 seconds behind. He lost pretty much all of that time trying to get past Toby Davis early on, while Levesque, of course, was a bit easy getting past his own teammates. So that is something to watch out here for, because he was a pole position last time at Barbagallo.
Yeah, Adrian Hulme, he's sitting that down in 9th right now. A bit of a ways off of what Rietveld's been able to do here on P1 at the moment. But I wanted to touch on the Levesque situation very quickly here. Now, obviously, it's a shame to lose Levesque from the championship. I mean, he was my pick to win the championship, so it doesn't make me look too good here as an analyst. But talking to THR guys about this, and I had Butcher, I had the pleasure of having Butcher on here a little earlier. He was talking about Levesque, and there's a bit of anger there with between THR and Levesque. Maybe a bit of portrayal of how Levesque is kind of just washed his hands at TPS and the team like this. The thing is, THR asked Levesque kind of to apologize for his behavior. Levesque refused to do that. And that's kind of the stalemate where THR says, look, okay, we're not going to close the door with you being with the team and you perhaps join the team later on, but you're going to have to apologize at some point for us to do that. And THR have made a stalemate where if Levesque doesn't apologize for his antics, so to speak, then he doesn't have a place within the team, because THR, they care about their perception to the fans, to the media, which you have to do as a top sim team like that. And quite frankly, they cannot have a guy on there fighting with the administration openly through the media like Levesque did. So THR, and it's funny though, because I remember at Barbagallo, Malvern, we commented, Ryan, that perhaps THR made a mistake with putting Tallberg and Davis together instead of Tallberg and Levesque. What right now, that might have saved the championship.
Yes.
Because if they had Levesque, THR would pretty much be screwed.
Absolutely, and Toby Davis, obviously the team boss of THR, along with Chris Butcher, he came under a lot of stick for putting Brent and Levesque together and Davis and Tallberg, despite the fact, of course, Davis and Tallberg won the championship last year as teammates in the team's championship, and he's obviously been proved very right by events since then. So a good decision in the end, it seems. Although, of course, it's not the way they wanted that decision to bear fruit. Of course, Toby Davis was the winner of the last couple of races, should I say. We had one event at Barbagallo. That was round 2, and he took both race wins there and looked very strong, didn't he?
Oh, Toby Davis he stole the show at Barbagallo. THR showed up from Malvern to Barbagallo with a completely new package, a new setup package, and quite frankly, Precision weren't ready to deal with that, because THR were on a completely different level compared to any other car in the field. And talking to Davis and the THR guys after the race, they put a lot of work into bringing that new package with them to Barbagallo. And conversely speaking, we talked to Rietfeld in the Precision camp, and they pretty much took the same package they had at Malvern to Barbagallo, and it completely didn't work. Now, I'm pretty sure Precision, they have worked on the car big time, have more improvements to deal with the sprint tires as opposed to the control tires we saw at Malvern. And right now, Rietfeld, he's looking like the fastest guy. But at the same time, talking with the THR camp, Toby Davis is very confident for this race today. You get the sense that this is the guy who knows, who he just got the last double win and feels that he's going to be able to carry his momentum here in round 3 at Symmons Plains, Ryan.
But who can deal with the pace of Rietfeld? He's looking very quick indeed. Nobody's got within a tenth of his times. And you might think, oh, a tenth of a second, that's nothing. Around this track, with such short lap times, a tenth of a second is a major gap.
This is something that's definitely caught my eye on live races, because the best time we've seen from Toby Davis through the whole 2 weeks of testing has been a 49.9. Okay,
he has argued that's been his race pace, so
exactly.
Interesting.
That's the thing, Ryan. I'm hearing that THR have held back their full-on quali pace, which means, hey, if they can go 49.6, just match Rietfeld. I do think they have the better race pace, the better tire conservation to then beat Precision. So I mean that's the big thing. I'm very curious as we get now into quali what we're going to get. What does THR's times look like when they go full on for that pole position?
So we're about to, as I say, about to go into qualification now. Just a reminder there, we are sponsored by GamePod.co.uk, and they are the longest running manufacturers of sim rigs in the world, and they make some stupendous seats. The seats themselves, in fact, are absolutely glorious. Actual racing seats rather than copies, FIA approved seats, so you really are right in the thick of things with those sorts of seats there. Make sure to check them out. They've got worldwide shipping, free worldwide shipping. I think it's still got on at the moment as well, so take advantage of that. And they've got some good deals as well on some nearly new GT2 racing seats, which have, I think, over something like £400. That's about €500 off the price at the moment. So make sure you check that out, gamepod.co.uk. And also, of course, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube as well, and join our growing community. Also coming up in the Touring Pro Series in the next week or so, we've got minis next Friday, round 4 of 6 from Cascavel, and the championship is hotting up very nicely indeed. Double win from Chris Butcher last time around at Norris Ring, but Visa Mule is still right there in the championship. Of course, you've got the pretenders of Strawn and Ely, who's shown great pace but was very unlucky at the Campo Grande, and of course then there's Kilo as well, and Tavite. So it's a very interesting indeed at the moment, the Virtual Mini Challenge 2, so you can tune in live with both Vanian and Munro as your commentators for that one. And then of course Wednesday after, we got the 4th round of the not Virtual Clio Series, so it's called, not called that anymore, it's almost called Clio Series, TOX as we like to call it, and it's my favourite track, Thruxton. And everyone loves this particular track. It always provides plenty of excellent action. But anyway, just to quickly fill you in on all of that, we're going to go back into the game now. Some drivers are about to finish their hot laps, and we do still have, unfortunately, that timing glitch on the right-hand side where our broadcast software is interfering with the live stream of people's lap time, so we can't quite see how well they're doing as they go along. We just have to wait till they finish the lap, and a 49.8 from Jeffrey Rietveld, that's a nice banker lap.
Definitely a banker lap, because we've seen obviously Strauss go 49.7, and it was Brands who I think was a 49.7 too, or either maybe a high 49.8 like Rietveld did there. But I do think you're going to have to go faster than that to get the pole position. I'm very curious what we're going to see from Toby Davis once he gets going, like I said, under full race pace here. But we've got still roughly 13 minutes left on the board here. It was a minute-long track. We're going to see a lot of times go across, Ryan. So drivers have to be on the absolute edge if they want a good place on the grid.
And of course, it's not like real-life qualifying where you've got limited amounts of tyres and you have to make sure you manage them and not ruin them all. You can do as many laps as you like in sim racing, and that's one of the advantages. And also the fact you can just escape if you crash. So it's all lovely stuff. Go as fast as you can. This really is a test for that kind of thing. And it's 49.70. Flat there from Jeffrey Rietveld, and that might be good enough for pole position, because nobody has got to it below a 49.7 apart from himself. So we might have seen the pole time already, or at least the pole sitter already set his lap time.
Yeah, Rietveld is on it right off the get-go, and you're right, Ryan, that 49.7 flat, that's going to be a hard time to beat, because so far we've only seen Rietveld beat it. Obviously, if THR have held back like they've kind of put out there, then maybe they have a chance at it. But right now, you're seeing Brent, who is a THR driver, with a 49.9 himself. So Keeloff goes 50 flat. A lot of guys went 50 flat. 3 guys with Keeloff, Gladder, and Home. So right now, it looks like Rietveld could be the guy. Again, we won't know if Toby Davis, maybe Jasper Tallberg, have something to say about that. But right now, Davis down with a 50.3, so that's certainly not looking too strong from the THR camp.
Well, he has been driving some endurance cars all weekend in another endurance league, all day actually. In fact, he's only had half an hour to prep for this event, so I think that's going to harm him quite considerably, because the 10th of a second here, if he's 10th of a second down on where he should be, 10th of a second here is a huge, huge amount. So I'm not very confident for Toby in qualifying at least. He may get into more of a groove as we go into the race, and then maybe into race 2 with more of a contender, but I don't see him being a contender in race 1, quite frankly.
Yeah, that's actually a good point you make there, Ryan, because THR, I know they're driving an LMP car in that league, so that means that's a lot of downforce they have to deal with. Then going with these cars, which is pretty much all suspension, that's a very hard transition to make, even with maybe an hour to make it, let alone 30 minutes. So perhaps you're right. We'll see Toby Davis kind of get to grips with this car as the afternoon wears on here. But there's actually a few teams that were driving in that endurance event. I know No Limit were also in there with their drivers. I'm not sure where Robert Godica is at the moment in the running, but we'll see. Actually, is Godica even in the server at this moment?
He is, yes, in 10th at the moment. There he is.
10th place, okay.
Track at the moment. So is Mueller right behind him also as well. So those two are sticking together in they're striking No Limit Motorsport skins, and we'll follow along with these guys on their laps if we can. 10th at the moment. Michael Mueller's not in the top 16 at the moment, so we'll look out for that. I don't know if Room Together here is helping them or hindering them at the moment.
I guess they're trying to get a little bit of the draft down this back straightaway here. And Mueller, he's last position, 26 of the runners so far, guys who set times with a 42. So right now Mueller needs to pick it up with only, at least he's still got 10 minutes on the board, so he's got time to get this time down.
And you see how much the understeer counts through that hairpin there. Mueller just understeered through that hairpin, and look how far he dropped back from Robert Godica. So understeering through that chicane, through that hairpin is not advisable at all. Jesper Tolborg goes 10th and 50.2, but he's way off at the moment, and he's leading the championship, of course. We haven't even talked about him at the moment. But he only came 4th here last year, so perhaps not one of his favourite tracks. He was beaten by Develar, by Holm, and by Levesque in a race that was a bit longer than the race we have today as well, which favoured his driving style and his tyre wear. So perhaps Jesper, this kind of track does not suit him, and with it being early in the season, everyone's still very competitive, very close together, it could cost him.
The thing about Tolberg, he makes his name within the race. If you put Tolberg anywhere near the top 10, he's going to make up at least 5 to 8, maybe even 10 positions because he's so good with his tires.
But winning championships isn't top 5s, is it? It's top 3s and top 4s and 2s and wins all the time.
Sure. Especially when you're getting pressure from this guy, Kielov, and we have Rietfeld, who's gone even faster, 49.658. So now Rietfeld, I think that definitely is our pole time. Unless maybe we can get someone who can put up some Adrian Holmes like magic, like Holmes did.
And Toby goes to 49.8. So there we go. I'm eating my words there with doubting him, because only one of the person's gone faster than Toby Davis, one of the person apart from Rietfeld, should I say, and that's Florian Strauss.
Yeah, and where is Strauss at the moment? Strauss down in 7th there, yeah, with a 50 flat as well. Yeah, Toby Davis, maybe he's now starting to get to grips with this car. He's sitting by a 10th and a half off Rietveld's time. And Adrian Holm, there he is. He goes second. Holm with a 49.7. So Holm just really seems to find his pace under quality conditions and the pressure like this, because Holmes, his live races times are never that impressive. But once we get going for real, it seems like he finds at least 0.3 of a second or something, Ryan.
49.8 from Florian Strauss as well, so 4th place, and speak of the Holm, and he will find the 10th.
Yeah, he's only a 10th now off of Rietveld's pole time. I'm interested to see if he can now go after Rietfeld. And Rietfeld, Rietveld's going to push here to keep this pole time, because I think Toby is going to go faster. Holm might have something in him, and now don't count this guy out right here, Jesper Tolberg, who's now gone up to 10th, who's now on a 50.1. Let's see if he can get inside the 59 and get within that top 5.
Well, it looked like a very poor first couple of corners there, actually. We weren't quite on board for long enough to be able to tell definitively. Oh, and it looks pretty skatey through the hairpin also. Well, but it looks a little bit underbaked, if I'm to hazard a guess about this. One person who's not underbaked for this particular event is Heinz Petzold. I was watching him earlier, and he was incredibly consistent in race pace, and knocking below 50.5 lap after lap after lap. So one of the dark horses perhaps for a top 5 here today for Heinz Petzold. Definitely on course, I would say, for a top 10 for the South African, and he's getting stronger and stronger in these cars, it has to be said.
Yeah, Heinz Petzold, he was very good through live races as well. So this is a guy, he's putting a ton of laps too on this track. So he's someone who's very much prepared for a good result here. And someone has moved up. It was actually Robert Godica there, moved in just behind Petzold for 9th. So
and Kilo to 5th as well.
Kielov, there we go. Kielov, he's a guy who's putting a lot of effort for these cars these 2 weeks of testing, and just can't seem to come up with the pace that his teammate Rietfeld had so far.
Yeah, he was really struggling. He was actually asking myself for advice on how to drive around the hairpin, and I do talk. At least I do talk a good driving style. I can't actually do it for real, but I do talk a good game. A bit like Arsene Wenger. I can't play the game, but I can talk.
Yeah, and it looks like Kielov, maybe your advice helped him get inside the 49s, who knows, but he's still 0.3 off his teammate there, Jeffrey Rietfeld, so we'll see Kilov's time. Kilov? It needs to be said.
to ninth.
It needs to be said. Kilov has been better under race conditions, had better tire conservation than rFactor. So maybe if Kilov can stick within that top 5, he can do better once the race starts.
So we've got the same format here today as we have as we had at Barbagallo. So for those people who watched Barbagallo, you know exactly what's going on. For those who didn't, we'll elaborate for you. We've got 2 races here today with 2 qualifying sessions for each. 100 kilometres, both races in length, and that means there's 42 laps each today. 42 laps might think that's a huge amount, but look how short the lap time is, so it really is not at all. But we've got 2 races, as you say, and it provided great action last time around. We're looking forward to this track also providing some more great action, especially down here at turn 4. Let's hop on board with a couple of drivers and see exactly how they're doing. It's a bit frustrating actually not knowing exactly how well drivers are doing with their lap times, and we do apologise for that timing glitch, which is really out of our hands completely. The software we use, XSplit, has decided to release the latest patch, which has buggered it up. So hopefully they fix that as soon as possible. We can get back to providing you with as much in-depth action as we can, as Toby Davis is going to have to abort that lap as he runs wide out of that final corner. The curbs here, Danny, drivers have been complaining about them. That curb on the outside of turn 2 and the curb at the outside of the entrance to the penultimate corner as well.
Yeah, you know, drivers have been saying that if you exit on those curves, you can get a little bit sideways. Other drivers think there's no problem with it whatsoever. This is just something, how the car comes down to setup. Pretty much how, the suspension is set up. If it's too stiff, then obviously you're going to have a little trouble on exit. But with only 4 minutes to go in quality, these guys are going to have to use every inch of road to improve these times, because it looks like it's really getting kind of a steady here at the top. We're not really seeing that flux like we saw in the opening 5 minutes. Rasmus Salo down in 11th position.
Strauss the third. And there's that curb we were talking about also.
Yeah, Strauss goes to third, out at 10th off of rFactor's time. Interesting to see if he can improve. But
Matteo Orban to 8th.
Orban to 8th.
0.06. So just that a couple of hundredths of a second has pushed him up a few places there. So that's great to see from Matteo Orban back in the Division 1 after an unfortunate crash at Albert Park, and then he aced the Division 2 races, winning both at Barbagallo, doing a Toby Davis in Division 2, and he's back in for DPG Motorsports.
Matteo Orban, he's kind of a staple within the V8 paddock, so I mean it's great to see him within the top 10, especially this early in the season in Division 1. I know he's going to be thrilled if he can hold that position as the race gets underway here. But Jasper Tallberg sitting there in 10th, so it seems like Tallberg is not being able to get to grips with these cars like his teammate Toby Davis is. But like you said, Ryan, there's only maybe 2 tenths in it, except it's just compounded so much under these quality conditions.
Yeah, he's going to be back in 10th at the moment, whereas his teammates up in 4th, just over 2 tenths ahead. And Ravio, we're not seeing too much of Ravio in the pre-season or the pre-practice, and he goes 7th with a 50 flat. So he's pushed Jesper Tolbo down another position. And if Tolbo just improves by a 10th, then he's up to 7th place, and that's acceptable for Tolbo because, as you say, he always manages to make up positions in the race. He always back him to make at least 3 or 4 positions if he starts somewhere in that top 10.
One of the most remarkable things about Tallberg is that he never DNFs. I can't remember the last time I've seen Tallberg DNF a race. And so you usually see the nerves get the best of drivers, especially if you're starting from 11th or 10th, which is what Tallberg's looking at right now. If somebody
Brent's
makes a
to
mistake,
second. Sorry to interrupt there, Danny, but Brent's to second with a great lap, 7.23, and that's bumped him up 4 positions there. He's back in 6th, I think, just before that lap, and he was pole sitter here last year, so we know how quick he is here.
Yeah, look how the close the times are from 2nd to 4th, Florian Strauss. They're really stacking up on that 49.7 there. So those guys obviously just can't seem to get into the 49.6. It seems like rFactor's got just a little bit of something to get his car a tenth faster than these guys. So there's really nothing in it.
Yes, but at 9th.
Jasper goes at 9, so that's going to help him out. Now, I was going to say about Rasmus Salo, who's obviously sitting 4th in the championship, very quietly sitting 4th in the championship. I talked to his team boss about this, Bradley Vanian, saying, do you think Rasmus has a chance to take the title outright? And he's saying absolutely no chance to take the title for a guy who's sitting 4th. Obviously.
Well, it's been a 4th. It's been an unspectacular 4th, hasn't it? And it would be optimistic to say, even Rasmus himself, I don't think would say he got a chance to win the championship. But I mean, Ross McGregor last year did a the third place championship, remember, just by being solid throughout. So it does show what you can do.
You're exactly right, Ryan, because I kind of hammered Bradley about having no confidence in his driver. So Bradley goes to Salo, asks him the same question, and Salo says, no, I don't think I got a chance to win the championship. So we'll see. Maybe even Salo has to surprise himself if he can get some pace as the season progresses.
Oh, he's had a bit of lag there also as well, so we can get off Rasmus Salo and leave him to his own lag. David Young has been quiet also. He's in 14th at the moment, with Eric Stroll in 15th. 16th is Sebastian Rosemeyer, 17th Tristan Clark, 18th is Michael Mueller. And after that very strong opening round from Michael Mueller, where he bested his teammate Gerdiger, since then he's been put in the shade by his teammates.
Yeah, we're seeing Godica having a solid run within quality, but Mueller down 18th. Remember, like you said, Ryan, he finished 6th. Looked like he was a budding star within VV8. But so far, we haven't seen anything since that time at Melbourne. But you know what, Ryan? It might be that, unlike many drivers, maybe Mueller is just good on that control tire, that harder compound, whereas these other drivers just do better on the softer stuff.
It could be there's also the familiarity of the track, because obviously Albert Park is using several different series, and everyone knows Albert Park. They know which way it flows, they know how to drive the track, and perhaps learning the tracks and that half tenth of a track knowledge has harmed him in these sorts of situations. And I'm pretty sure he's probably never driven the Symmons Plains before, definitely not in a V8 supercar, at least not at this level anyway. So that could be one of the reasons for that, as Darren Adams moves up to 20th. But there's a contrast there between Darren Adams and Heinz Petzel, 9 positions on track, as Eunice Rivio goes
Very
third.
nice.
He got a pole position at Barber-Gallo also, another surprise along with Adrian Holm for those pole positions. So we got some great youngsters coming through in terms of absolute pace, and 4 drivers in the 49.7s.
Yeah, you know, THR...
Paul Flores Strauss was second a few minutes ago.
Yeah, now he's looking
and
at
that's the end of the session as well.
That's the end of it. And it looks like THR's new boys, Kevin Brents and Eunice Ravia, remember those guys are driving for different teams. Well, Brents wasn't driving for a different team last year. Ravia wasn't even in the series last year. So THR's new signings are the fastest guys for the team. The only guys to be inside the top 5. Toby Davis, obviously sitting on 6th, the double winner from Barber-Gallo. So maybe it's going to be interesting definitely to see who's going to have the race pace, because again, this is going to be a sprint format. You're going to see a pit around lap 20 to 25, and pretty much that's going to make it, because even though we thought you're seeing him as without question the fastest guy, he had tremendous trouble on his tires at Barber-Gallo. So if he has not corrected that issue, then he's quickly going to lose that position, that first position to these guys behind him, which we've already seen have a better chance, better capabilities on their race pace.
Okay, we're going to warm up session here right now, and we will just be back in a couple of minutes' time. And we've got some videos and adverts coming up for you, as well as some action coming up in the Thomas Cole Clio series.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Over the score line!
And welcome back to the Virtual V8 Supercars, and we're about to go racing here. We'll quickly run you through the grid. Congratulations, Jeffrey Rietveld, for that pole position.
Here we have Rietveld on pole position, Kevin Brents for THR on second. We have Jonas Ravio for third, Adrian Holm fourth. The third row is Florian Strauss, Toby Davis, followed by Simon Kielov, Sasha Glatter, who's done very well this week. Jasper Tallberg and Matty Orban round out the top 10 with Heinz Petzold in 11th. Robert Gorica there in 12th with Rasmus Salo, David Yunt, Eric Strauss, Sebastian Rosemeyer, Tristan Clark in 17th with Michael Mueller in 18th. As now we're getting through the warm-up session here, about to go to the actual race with Ben Crooks there on 19th. Nice to see him still in Division 1. Aaron Adams in 20th. Matt Richards 21st, Kevin Enderman in 22nd, Bruno Sosa Ferreira in 23rd, Kevin Agway, sorry for butchering his name there, in
Angwin. It's not that difficult.
Angwin. Tommy O'Halloran 25th, Ivan Navarro, nice to see him up from Division 2, 26th, and rounding out the grid is going to be Rob Taplin for 27th, driving independently here in Division 1, and that will round out our grid as we're about to go 30 seconds before the cars grid up and we get ready for our formation lap.
We will, and we will be right back with the formation lap for you guys.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Okay, and welcome back to the Virtual V8 Supercars. The drivers are going around their formation lap now, and it's time for predictions, Danny. I know you love this part of every show.
I'm actually going to go with the man on P5, Florian Strauss, the former champion. I think he's going to do it.
You're a romantic, you are.
Yeah, I know.
You really are romantic. Why some girl hasn't snapped you up already, I'm not sure.
What about you, Mr. Callan? Where are we going with this one?
I'm going to be romantic as well. I'm going to go Adrian Holm.
Holm? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
You see. I'm a hipster, you see.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who think Holm just can't keep the tires together, but then the same people say the same thing about Strauss, so
well,
I guess we're both in the same
last
boat.
year, so there you go.
Yeah.
Rietveld can't keep the tires together last year either. Brents can, but it's a shorter. It's a tricky one, and we've got the. Obviously, yes, we talked back in 9th. I'm so sure Sasha Glatter would have wanted to be a bit higher than 8th, maybe a couple of positions, so he'd be slightly disappointed with that. But the driver's going to come around to the grid now. Standing start.
It needs to be said that Kevin Brents is really a strong possibility to win this race. He's so good on the sprint tires, and now he's starting second. So if Rietveld holds up, falls off a little bit, Brents is going to be right there, perhaps take this race.
I think Rietveld, he's just slightly angled across the track at the moment. Let's have a look at that for you. Yes, he is. Look at that, just slightly angled across. So when he gets away, he's already cutting off Brents' line through there. Kevin Brents, though, last season started on pole position. If you get ready for the green lights, he went straight off at turn 1. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But the red lights are on. And the red lights are on. Away we go. Looked like a slightly slow reaction there from Rietveld, but it is okay, actually. It's much better than the rest of the field. And it's Holm. Holm down into 3rd place. He's squeezing down the inside of Jonas Ravio. And now he's getting away from the THR driver. Back in the pack there. There is Strauss. Under major pressure from THR's team boss. Toby Davis is coming now down towards the hairpin. Rietveld leading. Brent's in 2nd. There's Holm in 3rd with Ravio. And Davis going wide, almost hitting the back of his teammate. And doing Strauss around the outside as a result, as Strauss gets stuck in behind. Oh, and in the background there, that was Jesper Torborg on the grass, and he's getting absolutely monsters to come down the rest of the track. Around the outside, around the inside, they all go, and he's back down to 15th. We see some lag there from Rasmus Salo. Hopefully he can get that sorted, but that's a bit too high at the moment, and now Torborg is in trouble. He's in major trouble, and now Salo is lagging everywhere at the moment. If he continues that, he won't be able to continue racing.
Yeah, and Toby Davis made his way up to third, so he's wasting no time at the start. Meanwhile,
we missed that. Let's have a look at this. We didn't quite see the action, not going to quite see it. Oh, it looks like Holm perhaps went wide, not quite sure. But back to live action now, and it is Rietveld with THR in 2 and 3, so Davis has wasted no time at all. He's gone forwards while his teammate Torborg has gone way backwards.
We were just saying Torborg very rarely makes a mistake, but now he's down in 16th in the middle of a huge pack. Meanwhile, Simon Kilo absolutely mullered his start. I think he even missed the lights because he was 5th, fell back to 9th. So far holds 8th, so not a good start from Kilo either, but right now it seems to be Toby Davis.
Here comes Strauss and Rivio as well. Strauss up to 5th. So Strauss is back to where he started, and Rivio is disappearing back down the pack. Is one of the youngsters that we feel, everyone seems to feel at the moment, hasn't quite got the race pace to keep up. He has it in spurts, but not quite enough for a full 40 or 20 lap stint, as in these cases. So Rivio is now back down to 6th. He started 3rd, of course, so it's not been a great start for him. Holm is in 4th, where he started, and Strauss in 5th, where he started. So it's been basically a swap between Rivio and Davis. As Glatter trying to squeeze his way down the inside as well, and Kilo has gone back up to 8 past Matteo Ban.
It's nice to see those two 360 racing cars running strong within the top 10, because obviously Melbourne, they ran into trouble through the first lap, and then again at Barbagallo they simply didn't have the pace. So again, 360 Racing, who have won the Constructors' Championship in this league before, are looking strong once again.
Matteo Ban has gone for a huge move. He's completely missed his braking marker for that corner. Have a look at that again. He comes round turn 5 into turn 6. He's way back of Kilo, and I'm not quite sure what he was trying to do. That was way out of control, and he's paid a big penalty for that. Kisses the wall slightly, and he's gone back to 16th position, and he's now getting passed also by Dan Adams, who's back to 17th. That was a big faux pas from Matteo Ban, got a bit excited and has paid the penalty. He's lost almost 8 positions as Adams goes out back down the inside. Mate trying to go around the outside. I love the different lines you can use through there. The outside gives you a better run off the corner, and also of course you've got the inside now down the straight into turn 5, so he's back up to 16th, managed to fend it off, back in the groove once again, back to the front of the field.
Jeffrey Rietveld
is checking out.
He ran a 49.7 last time. An unbelievable time. And there's a 49.9. This pace is even a lot better than most people's quality. So I don't know how he's able to do this on a full tank of fuel. But Rietveld, he's just saying, see you later, boys, just like he did at Melbourne. We'll see if he can keep the tires together. But right now, it looks like Rietveld has again ascended to a class of his own.
Of course, we saw at Barbagallo, he did not keep the tyres together at all, in fact. He absolutely shredded the tyres and disappeared back down the field behind his teammate Simon Kilo, who has never been considered kind on his tyres. So we'll remain to be seen whether Jeffrey can keep up this kind of pace or whether he will start to drop back. But with the gap he's creating anyway, it might not matter whether he can keep his tyres together, because he's storming away from Brent and Toby Davis at the moment, also Adrian Holm as well. It'd be a close race if it wasn't for that Rietveld's out front.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he's thinking, Ryan, that he's trying to create
a gap.
Pack. Yeah, it looks like Kilo's now trying to challenge these 360 racing boys of Glatter and Florian Strauss there in 5th. And Eunice Rabio, I'm sorry, and Glatter's in 7th, so it looks like there's a nice little train development. We have Heinz Petzold behind, and obviously Rasmus Salo. David Young has moved up to 11, so a good start from him. It looks like we got a nice little battle from 5th all the way down to 10th there.
Oh, and Glatter's looking. He's looking. Oh! And I think he just broke a bit too late and ended up having to just take the line that would lead to the least bit of contact, the least bit of... he just says sorry to Rivio there as well, flashing his lights. Obviously apologising for just getting a bit squirrely under braking. And Brent has now lost another couple of tenths on this lap as well. The gap to Toby Davis is now 4 seconds to Jeffrey Rietveld. So he's mullering the opposition at the moment. And if he can keep his tyres together, it's going to be no contest here today in the slightest in either race at this race.
He's checking out, right? Pretty much a 3-second gap to Brent here. It doesn't even matter right now if Brent has better tire conservation, because Rietveld is just has his mind on creating the biggest gap he can right now. But we're seeing Jasper Tallberg, who fell down to 16th, is now to 13th, making his way up the field slowly. The biggest thing you can take away from that for those Tallberg supporters is that it doesn't seem like he has any damage on that car, and he's going to be able to continue to challenge to get up the grid.
These two were battling hard, and they've lost a bit of ground to the three guys they were fighting with, and there was the replay of what happened and why they've lost that ground. So Petzold is back down to 10th, Raza Sala with their forceful pass on the South African to take that 9th place. A legitimate pass indeed, but he was a bit of argy-bargy through there also. So they've lost that gap, and Junt and Gerdeker in a great battle here. They're both sliding into turn 5 should I say.
Young's
turn 6 indeed.
Young's always been good on his tire with his tires, and now being with THR like this, both THR blue cars of Ivan Navarro, David Young into server 1, so that's always good to see. So with Young being within THR, having access to their setups, expect him to be very good on race pace. He's already up to 11, so he's going to be very difficult for, it looks like, the no limit car to get around. But we are seeing Tallberg tucked in behind this battle. I'm pretty sure that once Tallberg gets to Mr. Young, he's going to be waved through, just because obviously Tallberg is your championship leader.
Tallberg back in 13th at the moment, having a bit of a mare, and he also had a bad start to the race last year here in 2012. I think he went backwards through the field and had to find his way back from there as well. So starts not been his forte. Throughout his whole TPS career, starts have not been his forte. I can't recall a single occasion where he's had a stupendous start and overtaking people on the first lap, but that's not his style. He doesn't like to ruin his tires on the first lap anyway. But of course, in those sorts of situations, his caution has usually been a bit what's the word? Help me out, Danny. It's been it's been a bit negative for him. I can't think of quite the right word at the moment. I'm a commentator. Yes, but Tallberg is right up this battle now. But Gerdeker tried to get around David Junt there, but didn't find any space to do so. And now Tallberg got the run on the German, who's fighting the Swiss. And in behind they got Strahn, who's from Sweden, Orban from Hungary, and Adams from the UK in behind. So it's a truly international league this, and Gerdeker almost into the back of Junt into turn 6.
No limit. Besides Gerdeker, that Michael Muller down at 26, so it pretty much is on Gerdeker to hold off these cars behind him, to get a good point total for no limit, because his teammate seems to be quite a bit off the pace. We'll see if Gerdeker then can have a run on Young, while still defending here from Tallberg, who's going to be very forceful when trying to get around him.
Now Brent's being caught by Toby Davis now also, and the gap is continuing to rise. Toby is pegging a little bit, but Brent is not. Brent is losing ground, whereas Toby is, it's obviously, the gap is growing still, but not as much as it was previously. Brent's there, just pulling away from Davis, and Davis goes a bit deep into turn 6.
Despite Davis being third in the championship overall, he's still, rather winning 2 races, he's still third in the championship overall. So he needs to get in front of Rietveld. And right now at this point it's going to be hard to do, because Rietveld obviously was a 4.6 second gap to Davis in third position. Seems to have everything under control in this race. And remember, we're only about 10 to 15 laps away from the pit window already here on lap 11. So if the tires are going to come into play, they're going to come into play very quickly. And if they don't, then obviously Rietveld pretty much has this one in the bag at this point.
Now, how close do you think Davis is going to get to Brent before they decide to let him go through? Because at the moment, it's not like Brent Davis is putting him under huge pressure, but Brent is still losing ground to Jeffrey Rietveld. 4.4 seconds is now that gap.
I'm pretty sure Brent is not going to yield to any team orders, and I don't think THR are going to give any team orders at this point, because Brent he's very competitive on race pace, and I just don't see, unless you're seeing Holm and perhaps Strauss pull up to these guys and make it a 4-car train, then there's going to be no pressure for Brent to yield that position. I fully expect Brent and Toby Davis to go full on at one another, which I think happened last year at Pukekohe Park, when those two had a very nice battle for I think half the race. So those guys know how to battle with one another.
They do, and the 9th and 10th battle between Salo and Petzold has not been resolved. Oh, and here's Rivio. We lost position to Kilo. So Kilo has got past both Glatter and Rivio now. Glatter's been chewing away on the back bumper of Rivio for several laps and has not been able to get through, obviously, and Kilo has managed to get through. So Kilo out of that hairpin, has taken that 6th spot, and we'll probably see Kilo now pull away and perhaps get up towards the home Strauss battle, which is a bit far up the field. There's 4.4 seconds. We're only on lap 13, of course. There will be pit stops in this race, so look out for them around about lap 20 to 25.
Yeah, I've been watching Kilo for the past few laps, and it didn't seem like he was gaining that much time over the cars in front. But at the same time, we know Kilo's very good on his tires. Now being up to 6, we'll see if he can then cut the gap to Adrian Holm, which has been actually reduced only to, he's actually right behind him. It looks like Holm made some type of mistake, has now been pulled in by this Kilo battle.
Strauss is up to 4th, look, so something's happened there with Holm. We'll be able to get that in the replay, I'm not quite sure. It's obviously at the first complex where it's happened. There it is.
Yeah, just
here we go. He's just gone into the corner and got out of shape on the brakes. He just pushed it. He's gone straight off as a result. And there we go.
And Davis
that's 4
in the
seconds
second.
right there.
Davis in the
second also, so it's all happening.
I'm pretty sure Brent maybe then, contrary to my commentary there, allowed Toby Davis to go through, because that seemed to be very easy.
This was the end of the move, so it must have been into the hairpin. Back live action now. Brent's not letting him get away. Oh, he's made a big mistake there, though. Oh, and Strauss also! Strauss has made a mistake also, right in behind Brent. Probably put off by Brent going through, and he's stuck on the bank also. So Strauss, he's flicked his lights on, desperately trying to get out of that situation. That's a terrible news for Strauss, and of course he can't back up too much because there's Ayala and Crooks. Oh, and Enderman as well. There's Gerdeker also in the action. Let's try and go back. Oh, I can't get back to who we're looking at now. Here he is. Here's this big battle. It leaves Strauss, unfortunately, to make up for that mistake, but they're all going off here. There is Clark, and Clark's at the front of this battle. It's Oyaru, in fact, who's off there. It's Clark who went into Strauss, and here goes Gerdeker down the inside. He's hit the inside of Crooks. Gerdeker's made a mistake somewhere as well, so he's way back. We got now Petzold up to 7th as a result. We've also lost somebody else as well, so Petzold was in 9th, wasn't he? So we lost 2 drivers somewhere. That's all kicking off.
Yeah, Holm is in
the pits, I see.
Yeah.
So yes, I thought I saw perhaps a car in the pits there with damage on the front end. So big news in the top 4. It looked all very settled, didn't it? But both Strauss and Holm have gone basically tits up, it has to be said.
Yeah, it seems like Holm, that's been the whole issue on him, with keeping the tires together, so he looks like he completely lost check with that car. Florian Strauss, again, another mistake from the 2011 champion, and that, even though that was a little bit rough to watch, Ryan, it could have been a whole lot worse, because it looked like Strauss was going to have a huge pile up there.
They hit the back of, they hit the back of Strawn as well. Oh, he's really chewing on the back of Strawn. He needs to calm down there. That's really kicking off. These drivers just need to be a bit more relaxed.
Definitely a super pack. Whoever can keep the head in it and has the tires underneath the car is going to come out with a huge benefit, because obviously Ben Cook was in 19th before all this happened. Now he's up to 16th. We'll see how he can do. It looks like Adrian Holm into the pits again, so massive damage on that ice cold machine.
So as we settle down here, what had happened, I think, with Strauss, that he'd sit. It's all kicking off here, all bumping and boring each other as they try to make their way through side by side through that chicane. It's very difficult to do so without hitting each other through there, actually, in fact, because of the different speeds. And you just need to calm down these two. They're both very good friends, actually, Oyala and Strawn, so I'm not quite sure why they're bumping and boring quite so much. They just need to bring the decibel levels down just a notch. And Strawn driving against his old team, Optimum Motorsports there. Optimum Sim Racing, should I say, and going into the pits also. Apparently he had damage as well, and Salo into the pits also. So plenty of people, I don't know if that's a strategy call from Salo. Looks like maybe it is. It didn't look like he got it clean into his pits either. Maybe missed his pit box a little bit there. But Strauss, I think, saw the spin of Brent's ahead and was obviously concerned by that, and perhaps got distracted and just put the power down a bit too hard, and it spun around and hit that banking. He didn't go up the banking, that was the problem. He got wedged in between the banking and the track, and that's the worst place to be.
Yeah, and now he's left it to his 360 teammate Sasha Glad to score the points for the team. Now Sasha in 6th position. But the biggest winner through all this, what was that?
Oh, it's Strauss! That's Strauss again! Oh, he's absolutely lost his head here. He has got his lights on still also. Oh, he's
Florian.
Wow. Well, that really is silly. Not keeping his head at all. And there is poor Michael Mueller. He's been stuck there for a long time. Strauss has still got his lights on.
Absolutely.
Switch those off.
horrendous performance here by Strauss. I'm quite frankly speechless. What we're watching, reversing around the track like that is a bit.
Well, obviously he's trying to get out of the way, but it was a bit too aggressively trying to get out of the way, and unfortunately, he's just actually trying to limp back to the pits now and just trying to salvage a couple of points. He does need to switch those lights off also as well, getting a huge penalty for that also. Into the pits there. Who is that? Is that Torborg? Can't quite see the number on the car. It is Torborg. So Torborg into the pits from 10th spot.
And up at the front, we're seeing Toby
Davis
taking
out of the race
chunks.
as a result.
Davis is taking chunks out of Riefeld's times, now down to 4.3 seconds. It used to be about near 6 seconds. So Davis it looks like he's got the better of the car once we get later on in the stint. Remember, we're about a lap away from the pit window. We estimate about lap 20, but we're seeing some guys lap 17. I don't really think we'll see that from the front runner. So it looks like Davis has maybe another lap and a half to go after Riefeld and get as much time away from him. And again, that time goes down only 4 seconds.
So 0.3 in that final sector just there for Toby Davis. It is coming down very quickly. However, we are only 2 laps away from this lap, and then the end of the next lap is when we expect is the halfway point. So Davis obviously needs to bring that gap down quite a bit more than that if he has a chance of winning this race, because if he's only getting that close at the end of each stint, then of course that will be doubled at the end of the race, and that is not really good enough.
See, that's the thing. Riefeldt is so quick at the start of these stints that unless Davis can get that time down even more, it's not going to do any good, because Riefeld's just too strong to begin the stints off. And his teammate Simon Callan has made out the best through this. Strauss and Adrian Holm.
Oh, into the pits. He's gone for the undercut, look. He's gone for the undercut as Davis, despite the fact he's got fresher tyres. Maybe he feels that he can do the undercut because he's got the fresher tyres. And at the end of the next stint, he'll still be able to gain on Riefeldt. So that's perhaps a canny pit strategy for Toby Davis. And so in the pits he comes. Kilo. Kilo's gained around about 2 to 3 seconds, I'm pretty sure, on Riefeldt. Oh, and that's tapping in the middle of the track. What on earth is happening there?
Oh.
That was very scary. My heart was in my mouth. Kilo almost went into full chat.
Yeah, it looks like
what
Kilo.
on earth is happening here? We got Strauss off the track. We got Taplin off the track. Really, it's been absolutely amateur, it has to be said.
Absolutely horrendous drive we've seen here. But Toby Davis, 14.6 seconds for the pit stop. That's a very
slow.
long pit stop. I mean, that's not going to do him any good whatsoever. He got that gap down to 3.7 seconds before the pit, but certainly if Riefeldt can just have a solid time on his pit, then this could be over.
And Riefeldt into the
now,
pit.
yeah.
Whereas Brent carries on. So Riefeldt into the pits, his teammate carries on also. So we'll keep an eye on where Riefeldt will come out here and how long his pit stop is also. So Kilo is second and Brent now leads the race.
Yeah, and I'm keeping track on Toby Davis. He has no traffic out in front, so he has to run an absolute blister time on his
So he's lost 4 seconds at the pit stop, Jeffrey Riefeldt, just in the pit stop alone.
No,
and where is Toby Davis? He's still in 16th at the moment. Of course, everyone's pitting up high on that curb. He's absolutely wringing this car's neck on this outlap. Of course, he has to. He's dropped, almost 5 seconds, and 5 seconds is the sort of gap you just cannot make up in 20 laps.
And Riefeld's already pretty much down to the hairpin. Yeah, so he really did murder Toby Davis through those
7 seconds is now the gap, rather than
very unfortunate
the 3.
to see that.
Yep.
I guess it all now falls on Brent, see what he can do. I mean, obviously his tire wear has been very good. I'm curious to see, he needs to get into pits this lap just to nullify what Riefeld's been able to do on his with his early stint time. So
Brent has gone 2 laps longer than 3 laps longer, or 2 laps longer, should I say, than Riefeldt. And he's only a 10th of a lap slower than Riefeldt was going 2 laps ago. So it shows how good Brent's tyre wear is at the moment. But that raw speed isn't quite there for Kevin to be able to challenge for this race win, I don't think.
Yeah, and Michael Muller, we have lost him from the event. Suspension trouble for him.
Yeah, that was as a result of that that Strauss out braking manoeuvre. Yeah, and Brent's into the pits as we expected.
Brent's in the pits. It's like about 7 seconds between Riefeldt and Toby Davis. I'm curious. Let's see how Brent's.
It's come down to 6 though. It's come down to 6 seconds. It was 7 at the start of the 6. It's come down to 6 now. So that's quite a bit of a smaller gap than it was. So 1 second is a huge amount actually to lose in just 1 lap.
Yeah, especially after Toby Davis lost those 4 seconds in the pits. Again, maybe his tire's up to temperature. We really won't know how this plays out until another 5 laps from now. But at this stage, even 6 seconds, that's just a whole lot to make up on Rietveld, who's so quick to start these stints. We're seeing Rietveld there on a 50 flat. Let's see what Toby Davis can come up with as he crosses the line. Still 6.6 seconds, so it's just not big enough inroads he's made on Rietveld.
Of course, he was going through some traffic there also as well, so that will have slowed him up quite a bit. And everyone has cycled through their pit stops now. Just wait for Yunt, Orban and Crooks to come out of the pits, and we'll see exactly where everyone stands and who's been the big winners and losers. Simon Kilo has been counselling himself and been practicing his pit stops a huge amount, you know, in the practice leading up to this event after his speeding penalty at Barbagallo. You know, he was saying it's not like Race 07, we can just charge in at 100 kilometers an hour and just get it break down. You actually have to be 40 kph at the line in this league.
Yeah, you know, Davis, I'm keeping track of this gap. It's now up to 7 seconds. You know, it's a big shame because looks like if he had the
6
same
tenths on that lap.
If he had the same pit stop time as Rietveld did, then Toby Davis would have made out with a 3-second gap from Rietveld instead of 7 seconds. So that was a huge blunder, I guess, from the THR pit stalls. Now, obviously, THR have no control of what the game is going to do for you, but
perhaps he forgot to request his stop. I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Yeah, because that 4 seconds, that's an awful lot to lose.
It is, yeah.
Any pit stop.
Even with a random, that's
yeah.
And there's damage for Oyala there also. We've seen him. He's been driving erratically here today, and he's got his comeuppance in the end. It looks like either through his own fault or somebody else's.
Heinz Petzold up to 6th position, so he's going to be absolutely thrilled in his challenge.
And Tolborg to 7th. Tolborg to 7th. Like we were saying.
He just keeps his head in it and just continues to, despite the bad start, continues to push his car. Now 7th position. So, I mean, even though THR right now would lose out to Precision in the team championship, it wouldn't be that much. Right now, THR hold something like a 40-point gap to Precision, 43-point gap to Precision at the head of the Constructors Championship. So with Tolberg making his way up from 16th, it's a huge thing in the Constructors to help THR hold on to it at the end of this round, hopefully.
So the big winner there also has been David Yunt. A loser has been Sasha Glatter. He's back to 14th position now. Matt Richards come up to 15th, so that's a good gain for him. Ben Crooks is back to 21st. After those pit stops, so that's been a big loss for himself. And those are the positions at the moment after the first round of pit stops. Adrian Hull has been to the pits twice. Taplin is now 2 laps down, unfortunately. He's had a bit of a torrid time on his debut in Division 1. And looking to make up for that in the race too. Yeah,
Van Navarre started 26th, now up to 19th. Is the last car on the leading lap, I think, as we're seeing. Looks like not for long as we're getting one of the Precision cars about to come up behind. I think this is Rietveld.
Yeah, it is.
But wherever the case, Van Navarre up to 19th in Division 1. He's going to be very happy with that. Has a solid result for him. So hopefully maybe he'll get out.
Rietveld lap times after the first, after this second, Rietveld lap time in the second stint has not been as stunning as they have been in the first stint. But he is still pulling away from Toby by a huge amount.
I'm wondering if he's thinking, okay, we don't need to get 49 sevens to win this race. Maybe he's just trying to keep the tires together. Because he was losing bags of time to Toby Davis at the end of the first stint. I'm pretty sure he's saying, you know what, we can't have that happen again, because obviously not only are you losing time, but with worn tires you are more susceptible to a mistake like we saw with Strauss, like we saw with Holmes. So maybe I think Riefeld's just backing off a bit.
So Kilo now is tracking down Kevin Brent, so the battle for third place is definitely very much still on. And we see that characteristic of Simon Kilo under brakes. He likes his car moving around in the brakes, and you see the little corrections on the steering wheel as you go into each corner. He likes to have the car very lively, and it looks very unsafe to us mere mortals. But he's able to control it very well.
Yeah, we saw Kilo kind of all over the place at Melbourne. Part of that was because he had a little bit of damage, but it's part of his driving style. And at the same time,
at Melbourne, remember, he got absolutely mullered by Ross McGregor on turn 1 on lap 2.
Yeah, exactly. He had suspension damage on the rear. But the thing is, despite this kind of wacky driving style we've seen from the guy, he keeps the tires on the car so well. And through Strauss and Adrian Holm messing up, looks like Kilof, who had a bad start to this race, mind you, is now up to 4th position and is looking very strong to get a top 5. And here's Brent. He's ranged up on the back of Brent, so maybe not a top 5, a podium position for 2 Precision cars. Looks like Precision are back on that dominant form once again.
course, there has been a bit more circumstance involved in this particular race, but Rietveld is definitely laying down the law, as he did at Albert Park. He was being gained on by Toby Davis, and without that poor pit stop, the gap would have been about 3 seconds to start the stint. But it would have come up to around about 5 as it would be now. But of course, Davis was coming back at the end of the stint, but it wasn't by enough. And he needs to qualify a bit closer, I think, to Jeffrey Rietveld in the race 2 if he wants to be able to challenge Jeffrey for the win, because obviously he got a good start, but he had to get through several cars, and by the time he got through those several cars and up to 3rd place, he was already 2 seconds down, and 2 seconds is a big margin to try and catch, especially when Rietveld's on this kind of form.
Yeah, because now we're seeing the gap at 8.7 seconds. I mean, we talked about before the pit cycle that Rietveld was just so good at the start of these stints, and again, he's just pulled away, proved himself the class. But I'm very impressed by a 6th position there. Heinz Petzold we just saw in frame as he continues to challenge Eunice Rabiot, and Rabiot has not really been able to pull out from Petzold, showing, and I know you pointed this out as we were in the warm-up, that Petzold has been very good with his race pace. I mean, this guy's just been able to consistently get great times, and he continues to do that. We saw Eunice Rabiot not have as strong a tire wear at Barbagallo. I think Petzold is going to be able to maybe get inside the top 5 with only about 11 laps in play here.
Darren Adams has made a mistake somewhere. He just dropped down the field several positions. We're about to see this action now, I'm pretty sure. And the thing about practice as well, Petzold has been putting in lots and lots of laps, and the thing about practice is not so much improve his speed. Oh, I'm not sure what happened to Adams here then. Did he go off at the final corner? I'm not quite sure, but he must have just missed a timing bean, because he's now back to that 9th spot, so apologies for that. I'm just showing you a completely redundant replay. But the thing that practice gives you, Danny, isn't necessarily because it gives you more speed, of course, as you continue to practice a track, but it gives you consistency. You're able to drive the track much easier at an optimum pace.
Exactly, and especially with these sprint tires, you don't know what that cliff is, okay? Because these sprint tires give you maybe a 2-lap cliff where they completely kind of just drop off on you. And knowing where that cliff is and how to deal with it is very huge into what you can do, not only in the beginning stints of how much to push, but after that cliff and how to keep the car on the road. I think that's what pretty much happened to Holm and Strauss. I mean, those guys hit that cliff, they messed up just a little bit under braking or under acceleration, then they completely lost the car, and the race is over. So yeah, Brian, it's a huge thing to practice the car under race conditions to know how far you can push the machine.
I think it's been a bit more calm in the second half of this race. It's nice to see pit drivers driving a little bit more restraint, and I went a bit crazy for the 3 or 4 laps either side of the pit stops there. One driver who's been just driving away quietly has popped up to the 11th place. Here he is, Kevin Enderman. He's had a bit of a bash in the door there as well, as you can see. The Beats by Dr. Dre logo on the side has got a bit of a bend in the B and the E.
I absolutely love this livery, and Kevin Enderman gets a little sideways out that corner. He doesn't get much play because obviously Kevin doesn't have the outright pace, but 11th position, he's going to be thrilled with this, trying to hold off Robert Godica for that position. And we're seeing only the top 8 drivers on the lead lap, so I mean, it just kind of shows how fast got at the front.
That's the timing beacon.
The timing, okay.
Yeah. If you go to, if the leader gets to the next timing beacon before the person behind's got to their timing beacon, then it counts as 1 lap. So it's not necessarily everyone being 1 lap down. Please ignore that. It can be a little bit misleading. Rietveld has lapped recently. Matt Richards, I think that is in the background there. Let's have a look. Was he coming out? Yes, he's not actually coming out of the hairpin and going off at the hairpin. So Matt Richards in 60th place. I was about to mention how well he was driving, actually. And perhaps even thinking that is a commentator's curse these days.
You know, I was talking to Matt before the race started, and he said he was actually disappointed to make the grid for Division 1, only because he just thought he wouldn't be able to make the points, considering his pace this week. But
he's going to the pits, look! He's going to the pits! What on earth has happened here?
Maybe some damage.
So this is very, well, it can't be for damage. It definitely wasn't in any trouble there. But he's got a puncture, as his car looked like it was going around the corners fine, but he's just run out of fuel. It's not changing tyres, doesn't look like. The car isn't going up on each side. Away he goes.
A bit of a shame, really. I was just commenting on how Richards looked very likely to make the points today. Now that's going to be
going to tumble down the standings.
Yeah.
There goes Angwin also. Adrian Holm, here he comes, going to beat him out the pits also. It's so slow, the pit lane. You never want to go for an extra pit stop in these cars. It's not like I mean, obviously in Formula 1 you go through there at 100 kilometers an hour, but these are 40 kilometers an hour, and it really is just a huge double whammy. He's now gone back to second last of the runners, just by virtue of that extra pit stop.
We're seeing Adrian Holm in 23rd, Florian Strauss in 24th. And what I like about these double feature, these sprint races, so to speak, the double barrel sprint races, is that even though you might mess up the first race, you still know as a driver in the back of your head, okay, I got to get together, I have another shot, my weekend's not over, I can have a good quality session, do well in race 2, and I can forget all about what I did in race 1. So these guys, they're trying to just keep themselves warm by staying out on the grid they're staying out on the track right now, keep themselves ready for the next race.
Sorry, I don't think we should make predictions for the next event. Because I predicted Adrian Holm, and you predicted Florian Strauss, and look where they are. I think we just keep our mouths shut.
I think we need to keep our mouths shut, because this was absolutely
we apologise. I apologise to Adrian and Danny.
I apologise to Mr. Florian Strauss.
Yeah, there we go. Both involved in huge crashes, quite frankly, well, huge incidents at least. And Holm having to pit twice, and Strauss having his lights on for half the race, and hitting Mueller down here and getting stuck on the bank. It really was a disastrous 4 or 5 laps for Florian. And that's unfortunately been one of his attributes in recent times, is that when things have gone wrong, they accumulate, rather than just one thing going wrong and hanging on to it.
Probably some of our worst predictions in a while there, Ryan. Who was that one precision car?
That was just, I was pressing the replay button. I apologise for that. It wasn't anything happening at all.
We have seen Robert Godica in 14th. He slipped up a bit as lost.
Yeah, he was up to 12, wasn't he? So he's swapped with Glatter, in fact, look. So here we are. Can we see any damage on Godica's car? Let's have a look. Well, there's perhaps a little bit of knocks and scrapes here and there, but nothing too obvious. Might have come, obviously, from earlier in the race. But he got... he's the next person to be lapped, in fact, so up to lap 4, up to the position 14. That's how fast Jeffrey Rietveld is going. Davis is 10 seconds back down the rest of the field.
It shows how fast Rietveld's been going, and just how short this track is, because we only have 14 cars on the lead lap, and it looks like Matt Richard pulls off. Yeah.
He knows he's not in this kind of race, and Gerdica's trying his hardest as Rietveld comes out for the toe, and so does Orban as well, as he's trying to use Rietveld to get up on Gerdica. Gerdica's letting him go through. Don't want to be too charitable there, because here comes Orban, and Orban's going to take the position as well. That was a little bit too charitable from Gerdica. He just had to roll out the throttle there, just ever so slightly, not that much. And Orban says, "Oh, thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, see,
I'll take it."
Yeah, that's the thing. Godica was really trying to balance when to let that move go through. Like, we saw Matt Richards just pull out of it. Obviously, Godica couldn't do that because Matej Orban was right there. But even still, he let Orban get the best of him, and now he takes 14th position. So Godica's going to have to try to get back at him.
Maybe Gerdica's a bit too friendly with Nate Orban.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from that terrible joke.
We noticed here at the front.
Oh, Brent Kilo had a bit of a stoush. No, they haven't. No, sorry, I thought they were a bit closer on track than that. I thought they were 0.2 seconds behind the last section, but actually 1 second behind. So Brent has pulled away from Kilo. So that's interesting stuff. Kilo, I expected him to be harassing Brent, but that's not been the case.
Yeah, I also expected Heinz Petzel to go after Ravi a little bit more, but it looks like he's about to be gotten here by Jasper Talberg, who's
well, Jasper's taking his time here, getting this gap. It was 1 second around about 10 laps ago, so he's only gained around about 10th of a second a lap, and it's not exactly got a huge amount of pace here. Always he goes far too deep into turn 6 also. Just saying hi to Heinz, just giving him a bit of a scare, and all under control, honest.
With only a couple laps in play here, Talberg's going to want to get this done very quickly.
He wanted to get to 5th place, surely. Yeah. 7th place is very poor in the end, despite the fact he qualified in 10th or 12th, I can't remember exactly what it was, but 7th place is not a good result, really. It's a very average result, in fact.
Yeah, despite with him falling down to 16th, I think that's pretty much the best he could have hoped for. Only because at that time when he fell down to 16th, we didn't know he had damage, we didn't know what was going on. So to get
that's
up,
very true. He doesn't like he's got a bit of a dent in that front bumper, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, it's very. We've seen some drivers like Strauss. Once he gets in the field, we really don't see much of him after that. So I mean, it's very hard to get out that mid-pack scuffle like Talberg did. So 7th position, if he can get up to 6th, I think he's just got to take that.
I just thought I'd get back to this little scuffle here, because it's all kicking off at the moment. Sarlo and Adams are in a huge battle here. We saw earlier in the race that Sarlo and Petzel were in a great race, and Adams has had a wonderful race because he was way back on the grid. He was back in outside the top 20, if I recall correctly, Darren Adams, and he's up to 9th, only a few positions behind his teammate Petzel. So he's continuing his strong championship also.
Yeah, and we're seeing David Young on the back of this battle.
And Torborg's challenging Petzold now into the hairpin and not able to make that move stick. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I was watching it, but it looks like Torborg was hampered by some of that lap traffic. Who is that?
Oh,
that's David Young!
Holm! It was at Strana Holm. It must have been Holm.
It was Holm.
Look at the damage on the track. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Holm was just trying to get out of the way and just ended up clouting the wall. That was incredible.
That was
Let's see if we get that on the replay. That was a huge, huge mess. What happened there? That's incredible.
He blew up against the wall there.
He came through and not just all of a sudden it just snapped on him.
Disaster.
He was turning away from it.
Yeah.
And look, he's absolutely destroyed his car. He was only on course for a few points, but wow, that is a huge, huge accident.
Around turn 1 is where we saw Holm go off for the first time, and again now exiting that corner, he has more trouble. So that's definitely going to play on his mind as we get to race 2. As there's Rietveld, it takes it across the line.
Sorry, it's still on replay there, but apologies to Rietveld, trying to get with him for the final lap of his race, and he's won this race, his second race win of the year from the first 4 races. Congratulations to Rietveld. That was an excellent performance from him, really taking the fight back to THR after the THR taking the fight back to Precision. So it's lots of toing and fro in this championship. We've got Precision, THR, Precision, THR in the top 5, so that's great to see. Some excellent mix-up there from the Precision guys. But Rietveld looks in ominous form. Second place to Toby Davis. He'll be pretty happy with that after qualifying a little bit poorly by his standards. Third place, Kevin Brent. He'll be fairly happy with that, especially considering going straight off at turn 1 earlier last year in this after qualifying on pole. Fourth place for Simon Kilo, so first and fourth for Precision. That's a decent result. Fifth place for Eunice Ravio. Sixth for Heinz Petzold. We're very pleased with that indeed. In fact, that might even be his best ever Touring Pro Series result. I can't quite recall if that is the case or not. Seventh place to Jesper Torborg. Disappointing in the end for Jesper Torborg in terms of point positions, perhaps encouraged after falling back down to 16th, but still, overall, I'm sure he's disappointed with that points haul. 8th place down as 9th place for Rasmus Salo, 10th for Junt, 11th for Glatter, so Glatter recovered back from what happened after those pit stops. 12th for Kevin Enderman, decent result for him also, and also for David Junt as well. 13th for Strahn, 14th for Robert Gerdecker, 15th for Sebastian Rosemeyer. He was we didn't talk about him at all. He's up to 15th. Great stuff from him. Ivan Navarro also a good result, 16th. 17th for Ben Crooks. 18th to Tommy Oyala. 19th to Kevin Angwin. And 20th place, salvaging 20th place was Florian Strauss. But lots and lots of, not carnage, what's the right attrition in that race, Danny?
Yeah, we've only lost, I believe, only 2 drivers, and Adrian Hall, Michael Mueller. But the thing about Precision, I'm very impressed that they were able to fight back, because THR have done so much talk about this new setup package that they were obviously able to unveil 2 weeks ago at Barbagallo, and again in Tom Alonso Cole Series. So to be able to come out and challenge THR again and get back to winning races for Precision, they got to be very happy with themselves, and it's good to see that they have that fight to come back from behind, which obviously was the case going into this round. I'm curious now if Toby Davis can now get some more quality pace, get on that front row with Rietveld. Can he now then challenge Rietveld through the opening stages of race 2?
Okay, and as they rotate back around before we go into the next qualifying session, it'll be a couple of minutes. So we've got a bit more action, of course, coming up in the Thomas O'Cole Clio Series in a week on Wednesday, and here's what you can expect.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Hello and welcome back to the action from the Virtual V8 Supercars. We're here for round 3 of the 2013 championship, and Rietveld laying down the law in that particular event. Danny.
Rietveld obviously got the win, the second race win of the season. So it's pretty much Toby Davis, Rietveld, who have gotten who split the wins out of the 4 races so far. But Rietveld, he's second in the championship. I think with that win, he's going to overtake Thalberg for the lead. But again, it's pretty much nothing in it at this point. Thalberg's obviously going to have to pick it up if he wants to defend his championship going into round 4 here. But we'll know certainly as we are into the quality session right now. Another 15 minutes on the board. We'll see who has the pace now to take this pole position.
I mean, who's going to bet against Jeffrey Rietveld, of course?
Yeah, at this point, it's pretty much... I mean, going into the Q1, it was kind of a speculation. Have THR held back, or, you know, are they just talking nonsense? And at this point, they were talking nonsense because they could not challenge Rietveld. At this point, unless we see somebody just come up with a lap of brilliance, looks like Rietveld's going to take a double pole position here, Ryan.
So those were the championship standings before the race one. We do apologise for not showing you them before the race, but we have quickly pop them in there for you. And my apologies for obviously missing that out. We've got THR Orange leading the teams championship as well from Precision Motorsports, but of course that will now be closed up a little bit because we've got Davis in second and Thalberg 7th, whereas we had Kilo in 4th with, of course, Rietveld winning that race. We're now in the qualifying session. Now let's go into it for you and show you the action. Kilo's already set a lap time 50.1, of course. He wants to do better than that, so will Jeffrey Rietveld at 49.9.
Now look at Petzold, very quick through Sector 1, I believe there. So maybe he can come up with a little bit more quality pace to improve on his 6th position from race 1.
As the time's coming thick and fast here.
Michael Muller looks like maybe Rietveld just put in a very weak first sector because we're seeing quite a few drivers do some solid Sector 1s to trump Rietveld through the opening stages of his lap there.
Kilo is going faster also than Jeffrey Rietveld at the moment. We've got a purple sector at 1.1 second up at the moment. So 4.98 here if Kilo can match Rietveld's final sector. Bit out of shape into turn 6, but it looked decent in the end. And here he comes now towards the line. What's Kilo going to do? 49.8. No, that's Rietveld 49.8. We're watching Rietveld. I thought we were watching Kilo there for a second. But Kilo was going faster, and he didn't beat Rietveld's time. I was watching Rietveld on track while watching Kilo's time on the standings there. So that's so 3rd place to Johnny Rudis Ravio, 4th place to Kevin Brent at the moment, and that's all gone wrong for him down at the hairpin. Gerken with a 50.2 at the moment, but no stellar lap times at the moment, it has to be said.
Now these guys are still trying to get control of the car without the fuel in it, because that's the whole thing. These cars get very loose, very sideways when you take the fuel out of it. These guys have just spent a whole race, obviously under race conditions. So they're going to need a few laps to kind of get everything edged out as to where they can push the car and how far they can go to bring the pace out of these machines. Obviously, Rietveld is still 49.8, and remember he was faster than that under race conditions. So we'll see how he can push as the session progresses.
Charles there with a 50.1 into 4th place. We're not seeing any stellar lap time at the moment. Though we're already 4 minutes into the session, so I'm sure drivers need to sort themselves out here, and we're not really happy with their pace. One person not really happy with their pace is Jesper Thalberg.
Yeah, Thalberg down in 9th with a 50.2. Remember, in quality in Q1 we only saw a 50 flat from him, so maybe that is the extent of what Thalberg can do here at Symmons Plains. We want to see him in that 49, anywhere in the 49s if he wants to get inside the top 5.
Have you got any clue what the issue is? Because, of course, he's the reigning champion. He's the most successful driver in Touring Pro Series history. Why is he struggling so much?
That's the thing. Tallberg's usually a step behind maybe Toby Davis's qualifying pace, but and so pretty much if Davis, the best Davis could do is a 49.7. Maybe the best realistically Tallberg was going to be able to do is that 49.9. Okay,
yeah.
Because obviously Tallberg he makes his name in the race. So we're seeing Davis run at 50.1. I mean, I don't really think it's much wrong with Tallberg, maybe as is the setup, because pretty much Tallberg gets what the setup can do. Okay, if the setup can go for a 49.5, let's take
But
it.
why is Toby going so much faster? Both in race pace and in qualifying.
Well, I guess that's kind of hard to diagnose at this point. We never really know what's going on inside the mind of Jasper Tallberg, because he doesn't say much. But at the same time, it's early on the championship. He knows he just needs to be solid out there. It doesn't have to be tremendous. So at this point, maybe Tallberg's just taking it easy. I mean, that's the best way I can put it to you, Ryan.
Well, taking it easy, going slowly, whatever we would want to put it, it's not good at the moment. And he's back in 10th place, and he needs to improve on that, else other people will go straight past him as Rietveld goes close to what he was doing in the first qualifying session, 49.748, and one would think that's going to be pretty close to being the pole time here. We saw a couple of people go a bit quicker than that. He's going to 7.11 now, so I think 7.25 was the fastest we saw before, and as Jesper goes third with a 50.0 at the moment. Of course, we saw him set that lap time 50.0 in qualifying 1 and be way down the grid, so look out for him to go tumbling down the grid if he doesn't improve.
Yeah, obviously Tallberg's going to do better than that if he wants to get third. Now, I'm curious what we're going to see from Strauss and Adrian Holm, because those guys have to work out the frustration that they incurred through obviously the first race, and if they can get on that quality pace that they did in Q1, then maybe they can get inside that top 3, because obviously I think that the pace does drop slightly from Q1 to Q2. So if anyone can match the Q1 pace in Q2, even if you're not taking pole position like Rietveld, you're still going to move up the grid. So hopefully those guys can get their nerves together to run some good laps. But so far we're only seeing 2 drivers inside the 49s, and obviously those are the 2 precision guys. So maybe these other drivers are really having trouble transitioning from that race race up to the Q setup.
Let's go on board with Strauss actually if we can. He's in 6th place at the moment, about to finish another hot lap, and he goes third. There we go, he's already up to 3rd place. He does need to improve on that though by maybe a couple of tenths of a second. If he could have 49.8, I would bet that's going to be way inside the top 5 in fact in this qualifying session, because of the fact getting used to this setup once again. Of course, if you've just done 42 laps trying to conserve the tyres, heavy fuel load, now you've got to do 1 lap dashes once again, and is he going to get a huge draft here off his teammate Sasha Glatter? In fact, Sasha should really move out of the way here and let Strauss go through, because that's a massive draft as he's pulling it away down this straight. Hopefully Glatter will now get out of the way. He does indeed. That's beautiful for Strauss actually. In fact, has Strauss done a decent first sector? He's gone wrong to carry too much speed in fact. He's got it well out sideways into the final corner as well, and that's going to go wide at the final corner also, and across the line, and it's 50.3. That's a bit of an anticlimax there from Florian Strauss. Nobody improved at the moment apart from Robert Gerdiker. He's only a 50.1, so drivers struggling.
Yeah, we saw at least 5 to 7 drivers get inside that, 5 drivers get inside the 59.7 range. Now only 2 drivers obviously in the 49. So you're right, Ryan. If the driver can just go to that 49.8 range, obviously still in Q1, they'll be inside the top 3 here. With only 7 minutes or 6 minutes and change here to play in this Q session, these guys are now going to feel the pressure to get a real solid time together. Because we're seeing 2 tenths from 3rd all the way down to 13th at Mathieu Orban. Okay, so it's going to get very tight here. Any type of improvement is going to show huge dividends with your starting position.
Strauss the second with 49.8, so there we go. Strauss is back on it. Of course, he didn't spend 42 laps going around the track, because a few of those laps were spent in the pits, unfortunately. And he might be a bit fresher than the rest of the crew and the rest of the drivers actually, because he wasn't concentrating quite so hard in the rest of that race. That could pay dividends here in race 2 if he just keeps it all together and qualifies pretty well. Dan Adams in 16th at the moment, 50.4. Drivers really need to improve at the moment. What the drivers need to improve is Toby Davis is back in 10th at the moment, and those couple of tenths are difficult to find, and it makes so much difference. If he goes 2 tenths faster, he'll go to 3rd spot. So this is what he needs to do. We can't see the splits, which is so frustrating. We do apologise for that, and it really spoils his qualifying sessions for both The viewers and the commentators, and way off the track. It's not going to be this lap where Toby Davis will improve, and it will harm his next lap also, one would think.
Yeah, Toby Davis, we saw this in Q1. He had trouble getting adjusted to the car because obviously he was doing some Le Mans racing going into it.
Ben Crooks into 8th.
Ben Crooks and Michael Moore.
We say that with a bit of surprise because even though he's won 3 races in the Virtual V8 Supercars before, in fact more than that, if I remember correctly, he hasn't been a contender since halfway through 2011 season.
I know going into I don't know what that was about from Mr. Crooks. Yeah,
he's trying to escape it as quickly as possible before hitting that Walk racing car. I don't think he succeeded.
Nah, he hit one of the Walk racing cars. I'm not sure who the Walk racing driver was, but Michael Muller there in 12th position. And Muller,
all a bit dodgy through there.
Davis had to sort this out. It's not actual racing. It's just quality.
Adrian Holmes only 13th at the moment.
Yes, what happens, you see some drivers get very nervous once a qualifying session gets under 5 minutes and they don't have that time they've been looking for. So all of a sudden, they're not being a gentleman. They're just kind of pushing for any room they can get so they can get as many laps as possible on the circuit. So the guys definitely need to watch it. They don't want to go crashing into one another like we've seen here for the past 2 minutes.
There's a bit of confusion out there because Toby was on an outlap. He was trying to get out of the way, I think, and then ended up just being shoved aside as other people obviously feeling he wasn't getting out of the way quite quickly enough. For those people like Danny Asbury who didn't get the mate or back joke, friendly and mate go together. Danny Asbury did not get that joke. I just thought I'd tell you off air. He tried to hide the fact he didn't get the joke by telling me off air, but I'm deciding to embarrass him.
Thanks for that, Ryan.
No problem, Danny. Friends are for it. Adrian Holm goes 4th, by the way, with 49.994. So Holm qualifying well here once again.
Yeah, Holm, he usually makes a good lap with under 5 minutes to go. But again, there's another. Who was that? Keeloff? No, not Keeloff. It was Sasha Glatter that moved up to 5th.
Yeah. So Toll's back down to 6th now as a result, and people are starting to move forward. Salo into 11th.
Well, what THR Orange had to do, the pairing of Toby Davis, Jasper Tolbert, they cannot sit here start 6th and 13th on the grid. That's simply not going to cut it. They've got to find some pace here with only...
And I can guarantee if Tolbert does not improve, he will not start 6th either. He will start more like 10th.
So this is not good for THR Orange. They have to get inside that top 5 because Precision, they're right now sitting 1st and 3rd. THR simply cannot start that far behind Precision and expect to walk out of here with the Constructors lead.
And it's still not improving, Toby. Still not improving. There's only 3 minutes to go. He's under real pressure here. He's got 1 run and maybe another run after this left. He's got perhaps 3 laps maximum, or 2 laps maximum in fact, before he'll have to call it a day.
Yeah, Florian Strauss, obviously, stage 2nd, Sasha Glatter now, so 360 Racing, they're doing well. Precision doing well. Ice Cold with Adrian Holm is doing good. The only Ice Cold driver within the top 13 for with Adrian Holm. And yeah, again, THR honestly had to step it up. Heinz Petzold stays 8th for Core Racing. Eunice Rabbio is there 7th. And Kevin Brent's there in 9th. So Kevin started on the front row in Q1, now down to 9th in Q2. So a lot of drivers struggling with the fuel out of the car.
That's shape as well. Toby Davis. What can he produce? It was a clean lap. Goes to 10th. It's not good enough.
Simply not going to cut it.
Tenths of a second. In fact, if he finds just 1.5 tenths of a second, finds 0.127 of a second, he'll start 5th. So that's all he needs to find, at 1/10 really. In fact, if he finds 1/10 of a second, he'll go start 5th. And Brent's goes fastest of anybody in the first sector. And here is Brent. Looked like he messed up at actually turn 4. Come off that corner very strangely indeed, on a very strange line. So we'll see what it's like as we go over the sector split around about here. Petzold goes 6th. So another good qualifying from him. That means Torwald's back down to 7th. I was just saying, he just inches his way back down the grid if he doesn't improve.
Oh, this is a good-looking corner here from Brent.
I'm not sure how to help him when that's the problem.
Yeah, remember, Brent, he was your pole sitter in 2012. Let's see what he can do in 2013.
Second again!
Wow.
There we go. So clearly that hairpin was okay. Wow. Now Series now down to 3rd.
Brent's looking for another front row start, so he's got to be thrilled with his quality pace so far. But THR, remember, Brent, he's the fastest THR driver. Jasper Tolbert is the 2nd of THR guys, and 8th So THR, they have the pressure. We're seeing the THR Orange guys run side by side here, or line to stern rather. With only a minute left to go, they have to come up with something right now. Otherwise, Precision has a huge advantage to start the second race.
And these tyres are starting to go off as well. I think you get 3 laps on these tyres before they start to go off, and you lose that ultimate pace. And the ultimate pace is only 1/10 of a second, but that's enough. And Glatter goes up to 5th. So Glatter's improved from 7th, from 7th to 5th, so up 2 positions. That means Holmes back down to 6th. Torborg stays in 8th because Glatter was already ahead of him. And Davis goes to 5th. There you go. Finally produces that 49.9 that he desperately needed with 30 seconds to go in the session. He could not have left it much later than that. And people are about to start their final sorties around the track now. Petzold is in 8th place. He was in 6th for so long, now he's back to 8th. And Yunt's gone to 16th, as you can see there. And Torborg's out on track also as well at the moment. Does not look like that's a good hairpin, although he might be able to get away with it. He's in 9th at the moment. If he improves by a 10th of a second, he'll go to 6th. And that is will be a big improvement. He's actually back to 10th now because Ravio's gone to 8th. So he's actually the slowest of the THR drivers apart from Navarro today.
Yeah, simply he's got to come up with it right here, Ryan. As the session expires, this is going to be the last lap for THR Orange and Jasper Tarver. He goes to the line. We'll see what the Iceman can come up with.
He gets that 4th spot. Wow. Oh, that was pulling it out of the fire. He needed that, and that will make the world of difference to his race.
See, there's this thing, Ryan. You know, we've talked about Strauss. What keeps him from going faster, or rather Talbot, what keeps him from going faster? But this guy just needs the pressure. He
just needs the panic.
Yeah,
it's like you come down to your final exams and you haven't revised, and it's the night before. You just cram everything in and you've somehow performed, and Torborg's done that.
You need to put the flame in this guy, and that's when you get the best from Jasper Talbot. He simply does not crack under pressure. Brilliant lap from Mr. Jasper Talbot, the championship leader, or 2nd place in the championship right now. We'll see what he can do starting from 4th position. Toby Davis in 6th. Obviously, Talbot moving up relegates Toby 1 slot down to 6th.
One driver that wasn't in the first race, missed it because of other commitments. He's now in the 2nd race, though, out to Veit. So there he is in 24th spot, and look out for fireworks from Mr. Tveit during this event also then. So we'll be back in just a couple, just minutes or so as time. Stick around.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number 1 on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
If you've been watching that first race and you're thinking, who on earth is he? I can't quite pick out that particular livery. Here is the spotter guide for you, and you should be able to click the guide button above the broadcast window if you're watching on the Touring Pro Series website, and that will show you the spotter guide for this event, and so many beautiful liveries on there as well. Make sure to check out that and print it off. Print it as a poster, anything like it, in nice high resolution 4,000 pixels, so make the most of that. The next event coming up in the Touring Pro Series, as we talked about earlier, is the Virtual Mini Challenge 2 and round 4 of 6 from Cascabel, a brand new track to both the Touring Pro Series and the Virtual Mini Challenge. And we've got a very heated championship battle, as we were speaking about earlier there. Chris Butcher has the momentum, but Wiesenmüller is fighting back. While week on Wednesday, we've got the 4th round of Thomas Cole Clio Series from Thruxton, and looking forward to that also. Keith Barrick and Scott Woolbis will be running you through that. Hopefully we'll have Thomas Cole in the booth commentating also as well, so that will be excellent stuff if that happens that time around. Meanwhile, we're still at this particular event, and we've had qualifying 2. We're now going to go to the final race of the day, race 2. Rietveld won the first race and has stuck it on pole again for this second race here, as you can see by the standings in front of you. Kevin Brent's once again on second spot, so it's the same front row as in qualifying 1. Bit of a change in the rest of the field though, with Strauss in third, Torborg much improved in fourth spot. He really needed that. It's only a tenth faster than what he was before, but boy did it make a difference. He went from 10th to 4th. Kilo in 5th, Toby Davis in 6th, with Glatter and Adrian Holm 7th and 8th. Not as good the qualifying for Adrian Holm this time around, but hopefully the race will be better, as it ended disastrously for the Swedes. 9th place for Ravio, 10th place for Petzold. 6th row was Crooks and Salo. Crooks will be very pleased with that, in fact. There's been a semblance of form coming back from the Englishman, who's a multiple Virtual V8 Supercars winner. Rasmus Salo there in 12th place. 13th place Gerdica. 14th Matti Orban, with 15th and 16th Mueller and Juntz. 17th Angwin with 18th Strahn. 19th and 20th Adams and Rosemeyer. With 21st is Tristan Clark. 22nd is Tommy Oyala. Tristan Clark ran out of fuel in race 1. Hopefully he doesn't do that this time around in race 2. I think Matti Orban also had a bit of a problem with his fuel, if I'm not mistaken. 23rd Kevin Enderman. 24th Eric Tveit. Look for him coming through the field. 25th Bruno Salsa-Ferrero. 26th Matt Richard. 27th is Evander Vara for THR, while that 14th row is completed by Rob Taplin. And that is the rest of the grid. 28 drivers here. We've seen plenty of action in that race one. In fact, probably one of the most chaotic races I've ever seen in Virtual V8 Supercars history. In fact, actually, we're into our 4th season, so that's saying something, really. I think only perhaps Adelaide in 2011 was the only race where I saw perhaps more attrition in a race, and that was a little bit more understandable, with being on the control tyres around that difficult circuit. But we were going to make predictions for the win. Let's make predictions for the win this time around, Danny. Yes, let's do it. I'm going to go read bells.
You're going to go read bells? Yeah, that's nice and safe. Now, prediction. You know what? I'm going to go Jasper Talbert. You know, I like that he came up in race 1. It's now got within the top 5 in race 2 in Q2. I just think he's got good confidence going for himself. I think he's going to have a look at rFactor. I mean, it all depends if how Talberg and the other front runners compare to Rietveld's time as they begin the stint. Now, you did mention Ben Crooks there as he starts 11th. He was obviously, I'm reading the racetrack. He's actually very happy with himself for finishing for starting 11th on the grid. So that's good for a former race winner to get up there like that. Hopefully, maybe he can even challenge to get inside that top 5.
So we're about to go into the race here, and of course, again, another formation lap, ending with a standing start. So don't need to get too excited just yet. How do you think Toby Davis is going to do from that 6th spot once again? I think he started 6th in the first race, didn't he?
He did start 6th, and that is actually a very bad spot for Toby Davis to be in. I mean, here's the thing.
He's behind his nemesis Kilo.
He's behind Kilo. You've got that dynamic to play him. But again, Reefer's just so fast begin his stint that the minute Davis is bogged down by anyone, Reefer's already gone. So, like I said, unless Toby Davis was able to get on that front row, or maybe even on the second row, that was his only chance. He's going to have a tremendous start, and Reefer's going to have to obviously be bogged down for Toby Davis to have any chance of getting his 3rd race win of the season. At this point, I think the advantage shifts obviously to Toby Davis's teammate Jasper Talberg, who's on the second row with Florian Strauss. Strauss also a guy I'm not as high on him as I was in race 1, obviously because we saw Strauss kind of all over the place in race 1. So we'll see how Strauss can do. Obviously starting very high on the grid here for race 2.
So as the field makes its way around towards the grid, can Kevin Brent manage to break his TPS duck? Can Strauss finally get back to winning ways? He's not won a race since 2012 at Albert Park in the Touring Pro Series. That's a long time ago for a driver of Strauss's ability, it has to be said. As the rest of the field makes their way down now, back of the field.
You definitely get
Jesper Torborg's not been in pole position, by the way, since WSS3 at Sebring. So it's a bit of a drought for Jesper Torborg also. He's having his lead at the top of the all-time standings in the Touring Pro Series, eaten away by Jack Keithley. Jack Keithley's just one pole position behind him now. And of course, he hasn't been able to extend that position here today.
Yeah, obviously, Keithley, one of the stars within TBS, not in this league, but if Talberg doesn't get back to that super winning form, then a guy like Keithley will surpass him eventually.
So here we go. One ball with Rietveld. Look on the right hand side. There are lights. 2 of them are on. 3 of them are on. Ball on, away we go. Race 2 is underway, and again, Rietveldt's got a great start. This time, Brent's gone with him a bit more than he did last time around. Strauss locked into 3rd spot with Torborg in 4th, and Glatter has got past Toby Davis. Davis is back down to 7th, and under huge pressure. Oh, that's Sarlo in the wall as well. Sarlo in the wall out of that turn 3, and now here comes Petzold down the inside of Toby Davis. No, he backs out of that well early, and Glatter on the grass. Glatter's on the grass and rejoins, and Davis couldn't quite find a car width on the outside to go around the Germans. So Glatter in trouble there. He was right behind Keelan. That was a big gap, but Davis has lost ground, and here comes Holm. Holm's charging around as they come now down towards the penultimate turn, turn 6. He pulls out, he has a look, he's not going to make a move.
Not a good start here from Davis. You're seeing he's under pressure already. Rietveldt, this man right here, has already pulled away. We have Kevin Brents in behind, but also Heinz Petzold has fallen down to 9th position. Remember, Heinz, I believe he started around 7th or even 5th, so not a good start from Mr. Petzold. Rietveldt, at this point, he can just bog it, he can just pull away and control the race.
So qualified in 10th, Petzold. So he had a great start to the race, in fact. Was almost up there challenging Davis for that 7th spot, and he's dropped down to 9th now.
Yeah, so Eunice Raviol on 10th here. Michael Muller holds 12th. At the front, it looks like it's going to be status.
So Muller's outperforming his teammate Robert Gerdecker again. So those two are switching positions race by race, it seems.
Yeah, remember, Muller was nowhere at Barbagallo where his teammate Godeker was the guy. And again, Godeker beat him in race 1 here. So it's nice to see Muller back up at it.
Eric de Veit has gained 10 positions already off the grid. Here he is. He's gone past 10 drivers. Oh no, he's gone past 9 drivers in fact, because he's he's teammate and employee almost, because he owns the Ice Cold Racing crew with that car that Strad is driving, not allowing him to get past there. So de Veit has made up 9 positions on the opening 2 laps of this race already. So look out for him to march forward. He had an excellent couple of results at Barbagallo, even though he got spun around in fact by Sasha Glatter at the final corner at the end of race 1, at the end of lap 1 in race 1 at Barbagallo. Oh, in the background there's is that Gerdecker off the track? Yeah, it was Gerdecker off the track, it looked like to me. He's back in 23rd now, so that would make sense. And also Junt, Salzburg and Navarro. So Navarro way off the track. What's happened to him? Oh,
yeah,
here we go. Oh, here we go. Something had happened with Junt up ahead. I don't know if you got tapped by somebody, but I think Gerdecker and Young got together, look, because Gerdecker there was blocking the track for Clark or Jarl to come through, and there was Navarro trying to get going. So Navarro with damage there, will he head into the pits? No, he doesn't. So he's the one to lose out the most. So a bit of a funnel point there, and everyone coming together.
Yeah, both THR blue cars were wrapped up in that, and we've lost Ben Crooks from the event. Remember, Ben Crooks, he started 11th.
Wow, 11th place.
That's a shame there, yeah. At the front, it's still Rietveldt, Brent, Strauss, and Talbot. So those guys have held serve. No change in there. But Toby Davis still down to 7th. Sasha Glatter has gone around Davis, obviously, to begin the race. And Davis has not been able to get his position back. So I think this pretty much crosses off Mr. Davis for any sort of challenge at the race one like he had in race 1.
I don't think Davis is going to make his way through that particular group of cars this time around. We saw them make mistakes in race 1, but I don't think they're going to make the same mistakes in race 2. It's older and wiser they're all going to be this time around.
Yeah, obviously those guys, we saw it in the latter half of race 2 that those guys calmed down. Hopefully, I think you're right, Ryan, they're just going to kind of sort it out to begin the event, so no more shenanigans like at the first half of race 1.
Yeah, the either side of the pit stops, it was pretty hectic. It's even with the front runners, not seen that sort of thing before myself anyway, and that's unusual in this particular category. But of course the competition is ratcheting up, and with the extra speed, it means that people have to try extra hard, which means you get extra accidents.
Yeah, here we're seeing Rietveldt again with this incredible lap pace to start off these stints. 49.8, guys couldn't hit this under quality conditions. I think that's absolutely remarkable. Yeah, what we're seeing from Rietveldt. At this point, it's going to be hard for anyone to challenge him. I'm curious now what's going to be the take on THR from this going forward, because obviously Precision have worked on their package from Barbagallo, which they were quite frankly terrible compared to THR with these sprint tires. Now it seems like Precision have this under control here.
Well, one of the things that they'd figured out was a lower ride height on the cars. They'd run their ride height too high at Melbourne, with it being a flat track, and also Barbagallo is also a very smooth track, despite the fact it's lots of elevation change. They gained a lot through the lower ride height, but of course this track is very bumpy, isn't it? So I wonder if they've stuck with their low ride height and it's not paying off for them, whereas Precision have decided to go a bit higher, get their dampers a bit different because of all the bumps, and it's swung the other way instead.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. Chris Butcher talked about a little bit about this.
Davis down the inside. I'm not sure whether that was particularly legal or not, and he's also squeezed Glatter off on the outside. Let's have a quick replay of that. Before they get to the next corner, here goes Davis down the inside. That was a bit too aggressive there. He was sliding right, and he got caught wheels on the exit as well. Go down out into the penultimate turn. Glatter fighting back. I'm not sure Glatter will be very pleased about that. That was
he's not going to like
ambitious.
that. No, he's not going to like that whatsoever from Mr. Davis. Up ahead, you're seeing Thalberg, Strauss, and Kielhoff in a similar fight. So it seems like there's two little packs of cars, and I think Toby Davis really wants to get into this little fight for third position.
It just looked to me like that front wheel is not going up and down as much as the THR drivers' cars is, and it's not. Alan Torborg has spun. Has he been spun by Strauss, or did he spin Strauss? What happened there? On board with Kilo, we saw what happened. I was looking at the wheel, I wasn't looking what's happening up ahead. Strauss into the corner, Torborg too late at the brakes. Poor Strauss spun around, he knows what it feels like now, one could say. And Davis as well! Davis made the same mistake.
Oh
no! In the corner, THR Orange have self-destructed here.
They absolutely dropped the ball, and quite frankly, I've never seen Torborg
such an unusual mistake from Torborg.
Here, he just went right into the back of Strauss there, a la what Ross McGregor did on Simon Kielhoff in round one.
Well, it wasn't quite as bad as that.
It wasn't that bad, no. It was that bad for Thalberg standards, and so now Thalberg there in 10th position. Toby Davis, following his teammate, does the same thing.
Well, of course, as everything backs up, you get distracted by it all, and as you try to avoid and that sort of thing, it all just backs up and you end up making the same mistake yourself. We saw it, didn't we, with Strauss, and Brent's making that mistake at the hairpin, and Strauss made the same mistake, because obviously you're coming up to the hairpin, you have to concentrate so hard at that hairpin, you carry so much speed around there, and you have to carry so much rear brake as well, because you get the car rotating to go fast through there, and it's such a risky corner that you end up just at those mistakes. And there's another mistake for Toby Davis.
Whoa.
That was almost a huge accident. He did well to hold on to that. He's back to 11th now, and as we're seeing, it's done a Strauss from race 1. He's made mistakes over and over here.
These guys completely don't have control of those cars right now. They're all over the place. I'm
trying too hard.
Yeah.
And that's that curve we were talking about, weren't we?
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about it. You go to the top of that curve, it will just spit you off. It has no mercy. Oh, and there's Glatter off the track. I was saying they'd all calm down and they're all wiser, but I was talking absolute
We've lost Tristan Clark from the event while all this chaos is going on up front. Thankfully, Florian Strauss is able to recover.
Glatter, wow, what on earth happened there with Glatter? He got completely sideways on the brakes, and
Michael Muller
that
there.
was a big Muller, almost went straight at the back of him. So now Glatter's rejoined, and he's way back there with Junto Navarro. It's David John, he's back in 21st. The 360 racing cars just can't seem to have a clean event. They just need to have clean races. They've got the pace for consistent top 8s and top 6s and top 5s. We just don't seem to be able to put it together without making a mistake. And that has been Glatter and Strauss's story of the season so far.
You're going to have some very unhappy drivers as we get to the post-race, because some guys are just going to be livid that they've been taken out. Now, this is the battle I've been looking at, Simon Kielhoff against Kevin Brents. Kielhoff is just roping in Brents. Brents had about a 2-second advantage on Kielhoff. It's now been pulled down to less than 1 second, and Kielhoff ran the fastest lap of the race at a 49.7 just about 2 laps ago. So Kielhoff, again, has got the range of his car once the tires go a little bit, and is absolutely on fire at this point. I think it's only a matter of time before he goes.
Van Navarro was getting out of the way there and almost took out, accidentally on purpose. I'm joking. I'm sure Van was being very genuine there. But that's a rival team there, and of course, and there's Kilo getting the car nice into that corner, rotating. That's how you have to do it. It's not how you drive in real life, of course, but that's how you have to do it in this particular video game, because there's obviously no risk of killing yourself or destroying your car. No cost involved at least, anyway.
There is, we lost Slash at the ladder. It looks like he's had enough. I wonder, after being taken out, or I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Well, he did it all by himself, didn't he?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
drove
yeah,
into the side of home, and that was it, and back down the field. Unfortunately, that's the second time this season that Sash has done that. He just had enough and just DNF'd, and really, you know, if he wants respect from the rest of his drivers and from the spectators, he just needs to just plug away. And he's only in 21st spot. He would have definitely got into the top 10 with the kind of pace he had, and I'm disappointed by that kind of attitude, but there you go. That's just the way some drivers seem to take it.
Yeah, I must give some credit to his teammate Florian Strauss, who's had a lot of trouble this season, but always carries on, always tries to finish the event if he can. It's nice that he's been able to hold on to fourth despite being hit pretty hard by Jasper Tallberg, even though Strauss has probably got a little surprised himself to be hit from Tallberg like he was there, but Strauss carries on, holds fourth. Hopefully he can hold off Adrian Holm, who's about a few seconds down the road.
We see this with Strauss, don't we? He's lost a lot of ground now to Brent and Kilo. Now, obviously, Kilo only went past it because of that hit from Tolbo. But once Strauss is out of the rhythm, he's a dangerous creature, it seems. He needs to just be lapping and lapping, not disturbed. And once he's done that for 5-10 laps, you can count on him not to make a mistake. But once he makes a mistake, it just all seems to go a bit wrong, and the speed goes away from Strauss, and he's dropping lots of time to second and third spot, and here goes homing right in on him.
Here goes Keeloff trying to make a move here on Brent. Keeloff has caught up to Brent. It seems like this is only a matter of time now. Remember, we're about 6
Oh, there's a bit of space there. Kevin was complaining last season about how in NASCAR you leave space, because it's what he's used to racing in NASCAR, and you don't do overlaps or anything like that. Complaining about drivers leaving no space. But Brent obviously has decided that if you can't beat him, join him in the touring car brigade in that particular instance. And now Kilo doing the cutback. Oh, this is great racing, it really is. And Brent holds on. Oh, that was superb stuff. I thought it was all going to go badly wrong after Brent's just inadvertently, I think it was, cut off Kilo coming onto the back straight. But that was beautiful stuff through the final corner.
That was very good defending there from Brent.
We'll watch a replay of that if we can in just a second.
And it's always great
to move here.
It's always great to see Brent's up in it. He's one of the fellow Americans, you know, in the TPS. Not too many competitive Americans this side of iRacing, but it's always good to see a guy like Brent's go out there and fight hard with it for this podium here.
And this is how close they came to contact. Look at that, that was beautiful. Kilo did very well to keep off Brent, and Brent did perfectly not to squeeze Kilo too much. And it takes two to tango in those situations.
Oh, and unfortunately...
Oh, and Kilo's made a mistake, look! Another mistake from one of the top drivers. With this track really is bringing out the worst of these drivers because it's so bumpy.
Can we pull that one back? Maybe there's a little contact or something?
No, he's way behind Brent. And just went straight off. Trying a bit too hard. There we go, just broke a bit too late, and there's that big bump into the braking zone. It just sends you straight off. You know, well, not to do worse there, in fact.
I was wondering about this because maybe on lap 11, Keeloff ran a 49.7. That is way too fast to be going on worn tires. So maybe he simply cooked his rubber. I mean, at this point, because it looked like he was going to get Brent, looks like Brent now had the position as we approach the pit window. But I'm sorry to report, we have lost Michael Mueller now, so that means 4 DNFs.
Mueller, another DNF for Mueller.
Yeah. Very unfortunate for No Limit Racing and Michael, who looked so promising in Q2 to get 12th or 13th position, now is out the race.
And here's Davis fighting very hard with Petzold, and a good outbreak maneuver on the outside there from Davis up to 6th.
Yo, where's Tallberg? Jasper Tallberg seems to have taken...
You're absolutely right.
He's 22nd!
He's in the pits? What's happened to him?
Whoa.
Has he been into the pits? I can't...
He's a lap down. I mean,
he's 7 seconds behind Kevin Enderman. He must have been into the pits, perhaps. We didn't catch it on the broadcast, but that would be
lap 15.
Very strange.
Like lap 15, his lap time was 1 minute and 20 seconds. So I'm assuming that's a pit stop, a plus 30.
He hasn't. Even if he spun off the track and had to rejoin somewhere, then he isn't. He isn't like right behind somebody and waiting for them. Like obviously he's right behind Rietveld there, but he's not right behind Enderman. For example, you can see the gap is. It's a Taplin now.
Yeah, but, I have been informed that Tallberg, he was in the pits. I guess he just made a very early pit stop. I mean, I remember in race 1 we saw a few drivers going in lap 17, but Tallberg in lap 15. That's extremely early.
Well, if you're going to come out behind somebody, you may as well come out behind Rietveld, right?
Yeah, so he doesn't have to worry about anyone holding him up. So. Perhaps this will work out.
The pits also. Tvite's the pits, so Tvite's going for the kind of the same strategy. Here he is. The special sprint races livery. Stops on his marks. We'll go back towards the front of the field now if we can. Leader is still Jeffrey Rietveld. Not much to talk about really with Jeffrey Rietveld. He's just mullering the opposition today, just like he did at Albert Park. Very off colour at Barbagallo, but here he is showing the way.
Yeah, it looks like he'll probably be in same time he came in during race 1, which was lap 21. So I expect him in the next lap and a half for his scheduled pit stop, and then he'll probably just carry on. And I can see him dominate this race. Talberg, though, obviously having the fresher tires is ranging up on him a little bit. I'm curious if maybe Rietveld's going to let him through here or make this as hard as he can for Mr. Talberg.
Just only in favours, of course. We've got the two championship contenders, line astern on the track, but it's not as it seems because Jesper Talberg is a lap down.
Yeah, very unfortunate. It would be great if we saw these guys in direct competition with one another, but at this point, Talberg is simply having so much trouble here at this track. You pointed this out last year, Ryan. Couldn't come up with the pace at all in 2012, and again has underperformed here in 2013. So he's going to have to correct this as we move forward in the championship, because if he doesn't come up with that outright pace, because, I mean, listen, we've gone 4 races in, Talberg is yet to take a race win. He's going to have to win at some point to win this championship. So Talberg is going to have to dig down and find out that legendary form, so to speak, that's made him a 5-time drivers champion within the TPS.
Absolutely, one would think it's going to happen sooner or later. As these drivers, I'm not sure. Obviously, Hulme doesn't know where Raivio's pit box is, and all Hulme had to do was just keep going straight. I'm sure Raivio would have overtaken him at some point, and it would have been okay. But of course, it's quite difficult to tell in the pit stop exactly where your rival's going to pit. Or here's a replay of that as they come out side by side.
Rietveld is into the barrier. Oh,
we're joking me.
He's falling down. He's falling down the grid. He's into the gravel track. He rejoins behind Toby Davis. Oh my goodness! I think it was into the final sector. It was in the final corner. Rietveld, it was off.
There we are. Wow, that is crazy stuff. Oh, he's gone straight over the top of the barrier. This is sensational.
Unbelievable.
We're just getting a bit bored with the action of Rietveld running away once again. But that is...
It's inexplicable.
I don't know what to say.
Oh, you know what, Ron? We saw a few laps earlier that Simon Kielhoff misses braking marks that go into the exact same corner. Maybe something in the setup that they just position out right here.
He just broke on slightly on not straight, and he's put a wheel above. He put a wheel. There we are. See, he put a wheel on the grass, and that's just, and of course, there's no return from there. He goes straight off over the bank and over the top of. Obviously, it's still a game, so you don't get quite the right reaction as it goes over and up in the air and over the top of the barrier.
Now the battle of win is going down to Kevin Brent and Kielhoff. Kielhoff has closed in the Brent. It's up to these two guys. A half a second with in it right now.
To the pits. Let's hope he's cancelled his damage repairs, unless he needs to do that damage repair. It looks pretty mangled.
Yeah, that car looks bad, Ron. I have a hard time thinking he's not going to fix the damage, because that is going to create massive trouble on the front end.
Yeah, but it's 40 seconds to fix the damage. Will it cost you 40 seconds if you don't fix it? That's the issue, isn't it? Strauss is in third.
Kielhoff is all over the back of Brent. Sorry to interrupt here, but Kielhoff, he knows this is for the race win.
He's half a second behind, of course. But here's Strauss, and he's got Davis in behind and Tveit. Tveit is a lap down on Strauss, but of course he's pit. Oh! What's happened to Strauss?
I think you're on replay. You're on replay.
Am I on replay? Am I still on replay?
Because Brent and Kielhoff are both into the pits. They're following one another.
Yeah, absolutely. I do apologize. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Give me all kinds of scares happening there.
Wow,
Brent into the pits, like you say.
3/10 in it right now, Ryan. This could come down to whoever can get stopped on their marks quicker. It looks like Kielhoff had to go around Brent. Yeah,
it did. Yeah, that was the crazy stuff. Not sure why Kielhoff was going quite so that side if he was behind. And here comes Brent out of the pits, and Kielhoff's not going to beat him out. Going to lose time, in fact. Look, that's around about a second. That gap. It looks small, but of course they're going 40 k's, and Brent's going to accelerate way before Kielhoff can. There he goes.
Oh, yeah, he did. Wow, huge gap there.
You know who's going to profit from all of this? Toby Davis has a chance of winning this race now. He's only 5 seconds behind Brent, I think, before that pit stop, and that's definitely a gap he can surpass.
He needs to get in. He does not get in. Okay, he wants to go long on the tires. I'm not sure if that.
Matteo went long as well.
Everyone who goes long, it has not benefited them really this season. So I'm not sure what Toby's thinking. He needs to get that car in down to in the pit lane, get some fresh tires.
I'm sure they'll be talking about where they'll come out in the gap, and he'll probably come out just ahead of Rietveld, one would imagine, but that's right in the battle between Strauss and Hulm, and those two are battling. I wonder if the team bosses are saying, well, stay out, because these two are battling and they're not going fast in you now, because Davis is still doing 50.1s, which is very quick indeed at this stage of the race. Very quick indeed. So Davis really has no reason to pit, actually. He's doing those sort of lap times, like 5 or 6 laps into the stint, so 50.1 at the end of the stint is superb stuff. So really, while these two battle, he may as well stay out and hopefully jump out ahead of them. He may even jump out around about Simon Kielov territory.
You know, that is a good point.
Davis into the pits.
Tremendous times from Toby Davis. On lap 17, he had a 49.9 even, so he's got a
incredible
very
stuff.
good, very good.
We saw him right
car.
behind Strauss before Strauss came into the pits.
And we're seeing 30 seconds. I think that's exactly what Toby Davis needs to get out in front of Kevin Brents and them. So 30 seconds, that's kind of like the marker to get in and out of the pits.
Here comes Brent. He's around the final couple of corners. Can he do it, Danny?
Yeah, Toby Davis, he's out the pits. Well, he's started his car. Can he get to that?
No, he's not going to do it. Just a bit behind.
Yeah,
He'll be behind Kiel as well, but I think he'll come out ahead of Adrian Hulm, and that will be a result. Here comes Hulm. And Davis is still going around the outside, of course. Well, there goes Hulm. Hulm's going to take it. They're side by side. This is close stuff, of course. And Davis has got cold tyres. And Hulm is trying to go down the inside. And Davis just squeezed a bit, left the car with. But here comes Hulm now. Hulm has got warmer brakes and warmer tyres right now. Davis has been stood still. Those brakes cooling down. This is titanic stuff. And Davis holds on.
He's got it.
He holds on to that third place. What a move. And he's only 5 seconds down on the leader now. Surely he can surpass that gap and bridge that gap.
And you're looking at the car in behind these two is Jeffrey Rietveld, so obviously he did not repair damage.
So this happened to Strauss again. Oh
no, where's Strauss 13 so far? He's struggling.
Strauss is battling with Adrian Hulm. So something's happened to him.
I think it's O'Hala. It's Strauss against Tommy O'Hala there.
No, he was battling with Adrian Hulm before.
Oh, okay, before, yeah.
He was head of Rietveld. He was in that fourth spot and then battled with Hulm, and now he's lost that position, made a mistake somewhere. So again, 360 Racing just cannot keep the car on track. The consistency is just not there.
I've been informed that Strauss actually went to the pits again, so maybe he was speeding or something.
Maybe, yeah, perhaps. So Strauss back into the pits, that's perhaps what happened there. Here is the gain. Strauss gained 10 positions in this race. We're not seeing too much from Eric to Veit, but he's gained 14 positions.
Wow.
Whereas you see there is Strauss, he's gone down 10. And he's the big loser in this race at the moment.
Well, game one at the front is Kielov against Brents. Only 0.8 of a second in it. Brents is doing whatever he can to get some lap pace in that car, but I think Kielov is the faster of the two.
Yeah, but it's at the end of it, isn't it, that Brents has always been pulling away. Like 3 or 4 seconds. He did it in race 1. He's done it in race 2 as well. At the end of the first stint.
Brent has done so well defending against Kielov once he gets there that I think it kind of unnerves Kielov into making a mistake. We'll see if he can do it for another, it looks like another 15 laps. I mean, this is a tall order for Brent, who obviously has the quicker car at Kielov right on his bumper here.
Brent has never won a Touring Pro Series race. Kilo has 5. Toby Davis has 14.
Yeah, Toby Davis, he's about 5 seconds off these guys. So unless there's some type
I apologize,
of
Toby Davis has 18. I apologize, I'm way underestimated how many he had. Toby Davis has 18 wins. So we see the level there. Hulm has never won a race either. Rietveld has already won 2 in his short TPS career. So Davis into the pits again!
Oh no! The speeding again?
Speeding! Oh, it's incredible stuff. That's very, very careless indeed. He is speeding. He's not even pulling into his pit box at all. Oh, dear, this is incredible stuff. Everyone's just self-destructing. It's only Kilo and Brent that seem to be keeping their heads at the moment.
Yeah, and despite, we saw Talbert fall off of it early, he's up to 6. So a brilliant strategy from Talbert to get himself back up the grid. But now with Toby Davis falling back to 11th, a killer mistake for THR.
Oh, unbelievable. So this was where he was supposed to profit from Rietveld's mistake. Yeah. When others make mistakes, don't make yours. And he's made his.
This is the second time this season Toby's done this. Because remember, at Melbourne, he had also a speeding penalty that put him behind Simon Kielov late on in that event. So Toby Davis has to get this under control.
Hulm is now being caught by Rietveld very quickly indeed. It looks like to be 7/10 of a second is the gap. Rietveld, even with that damage, he's obviously got plenty of speed in that car. He had plenty of extra speed over Adrian Hulm anyway, so he'll probably be matching and just slightly faster than Adrian Hulm at the moment, even with that damage.
This is unbelievable by Rietveld. I pretty much counted him out after that horrendous crash we saw, but looks like he's going to be on for a podium position, right? So
50.5 in that lap from Brent. That's pretty slow.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it.
Kilo's not putting him under any pressure at all.
because as you point out, Toby Davis was at 50.1s on lap 23 of his stint. So to be on 50.5 this early in the stint, this isn't good, Ryan. Brent has to pick it up if he wants to win this race.
To fight, they're fighting with Florian Strauss back in the pack. There's a big battle back in the pack, actually. 11th, there we are. Oh, there's Strauss around again!
No!
Oh, we don't time it well. And he needs to get going. Same corner again. Oh, he's actually glitched to the side of the track as well now. Oh, there we go. It's actually just it's corrected itself on the connection. But let's see what happened there if we can. Oh, we can't quite see what happened. I saw he was fighting. He was swapping positions with Tveit and Salo, and then at the same corner he's gone off once again back to 18th position. But he's going to be fighting for his Division 1 status at this rate, the way he's going.
Yeah, it's absolutely
just 17th past Kevin Enderman. Oh, his car's all over the place, look. He's obviously superheated his tyres by doing that spin.
Florian Strauss completely come on down. Not only this race, but this entire championship, we've just not seen the Strauss we're accustomed to seeing. This guy out here is just not the same guy right now, Ryan. He's 17th in the championship standings, and you might be right. He's going to be fighting to stay within Division 1 soon.
Well, the way he obviously had lots of pace here, and that's great to see. The pace is obviously the most difficult thing you can create. Eric Tveit off the track as well. At the same corner, there we are. He spun around. And
Here we go.
Get going once again.
Simon Kielhoff passes Brent's for the lead.
For the lead.
Yeah, Kielhoff is now leading this race.
But there was here's a replay of that. Simon just squeezing down the inside, and off the corner they come, side by side contact off the corner. Oh, that was a bit of shenanigans there also, a bit of handback. Oh, Brent has got back past him. Brent has got back past him. Let's keep that on the replay then and see where Brent did this. Down into through turn 5 they're going now, and into turn 6. This is where the precision have been coming undone, of course. Remember. And it's happened again. Oh, and Brett's down the inside, an equally forceful pass. So he was having none of it at all. If you're going to do that pass to me, I'm going to do it straight back to you. And here comes Kilo on the next lap. We're back to live action. And it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. And he's going to get blocked in behind this group of cars also. Which way do you go?
Oh, man. No, this lap trap, these guys, they're racing position back there, so you can't expect them to yield right off the bat. We'll see how Kevin deals with it.
Oh, Tveit gets out of the way.
Nice
a blue car up ahead. That's it's either Yunt. Oh, there goes Kilo down the inside. What a move! Brent makes the mistake, and Kilo takes full advantage. That was a good move.
Yeah, this is an art form, racing around lap traffic like this. We'll see. So far, Kielhoff's got the advantage. See how you can get around Ivan Navarre, because maybe this is Brent's chance to close the gap again. Ivan just gets right out the way, lets both the cars go through, and now Brent has...
That's not very good team play from Ivan Navarro.
Yeah,
contact from Brent as Kilo backs himself up on the apex, and Holman Reetbelt, they're only 4 seconds behind this gap now as you see Tveit go up the hill also in the background. He's out of this race.
You mentioned that wasn't good team play from Navarre.
I was being sarcastic.
Well, he just simply can't be expected to be the decider in a battle like that. But you do make an interesting point, because he's THR, Brent's is THR, maybe holds up Kielhoff just a little bit, but at this point, looks like Kielhoff is broken through. I'm not sure if Brent is going to be able to catch up to the
Of course, there's 8
man.
laps to go, and Kilo was dropping off in the final 5 laps of the stint in the first race. So it's not over yet, and Holman and Reetbelt are charging along towards this group.
I was just about to point that out. Looks like that gap is now 3.6 seconds, so maybe that brings Holman and Reetbelt back into play.
Hetzold in 5th.
Wow.
Excellent stuff.
He's quietly just run a tremendous, two tremendous races this afternoon, getting 6th, and now is trying to get inside the top 5. He's going to be thrilled with this as well.
Rivey also having a strong run here, 7th place, and also Eric Strawn. After struggles early in the season, he's now up to 8th spot in this race, and he has gained 10 positions, as we were saying earlier, with Toby Davis is in 9th, and I think that's as high as Toby Davis is going to get, without mistakes ahead of him. There's a big gap now towards the rest of the field. Brent is 0.8 of a second behind Simon Kilo. It's not over just yet. He knows Brent is much faster than Kilo at the end of the stint, or has been in the past at least anyway.
Toby Davis is going to be actually kicking himself when he watches the tape on this race, because he was the guy that could have been in this battle for the lead had he not had that drive-through penalty. And now we've just lost Eric to White, who's also retired from the race here.
We saw him go off the track while we were watching this battle.
Right.
Brent has made a mistake there, and he's lost lots of time at the hairpin. And that could be game over.
Yeah, at this point, it's going to be hard for him to pull that
Gap is
gas
now 1.7. We lost a whole second in just that corner alone. And that could be the end of the battle, because Kilo will extend that gap. And even if Brent is faster at the end of the race, then one would expect that Brent will not be able to catch up quite as quickly as he would need to do.
Now, obviously, Precision, they've had trouble in the final corner, or the only corner in Sector 3, where they kind of touch that grass and get sideways. That is Brent's pretty much his only chance to win this race if Kilo again runs into trouble around that corner, because that's the only place his Precision...
Kilo's made I thought we made a mistake there, sorry. Just in the foreground, I saw him braking very late, but he got the car nicely into the apex and shot off the corner.
Who is that? Is that Home in the background going off?
That's Rietveld. Rietvald's gone off again.
Oh. And Torborg's got a run. That's huge for THR.
5th place for Jesper Torborg. After all his tribulations, he's behind Heinz Petzold as well. Not been quite difficult to get past him. He was trying to get... Oh, and there we go. Oh, he was too hot into the corner and hit the back of Petzold. Holm, should I say.
We've seen so many mistakes from the top drivers this race. It's
incredible.
Really, it is. I mean,
never seen so many mistakes.
I know
top drivers.
We've got guys crashing out from the lead, crashing out from podium positions, left to right.
There's something in the water in Tasmania.
Exactly. I mean, with guys getting drive-through penalties, it's absolutely...
Petzold is in fourth. He's challenging Holm for a podium.
He's going for the corner.
Petzold, take him out. He's probably one of the only drivers who's kept his head all race, both races. And he's closing right up on Agri and Holm now. Look at that drive off the corner as well. He's going to have a run on the Holm here, surely going to slipstream down this straight, because his cars are so powerful, they accelerate so quickly, the slipstream is quite difficult to come by. It doesn't make so much of a difference. The gap is 2 seconds now between Sam and Kilo and Kevin Brent. There are 5 laps to go. Here comes Petzold. No. Ducks back in once again.
Petzold is quick, especially at the end of his stint. He's stronger than Holm. Can he find the place to do it? They're coming up to lap traffic. Can Petzold find a place to get his nose underneath Holm and get this move done? I can tell you right now, Darren Adams, the core race...
Oh, look at that! Oh, David Yunt almost taking out Adrian Holm. In the same place where he crashed race 1. It has. Who will it favour?
I like Petzold's drive out the corner. I like his drive out the corner here, Ryan.
Yeah, he's got the outside run, and that will be... Oh, he's got it! No, he hasn't. He hasn't. It's going to be all on. And, of course, Holm has the outside for turn 5 up here. But then, of course, he has the inside for turn 6. And look who's lurking behind.
There's Tallberg. And Petzold, he's done it! He's got it! He's got the run off that corner.
He hasn't! Holm back down the inside, sideways. He's coming block move. Petzold back down the inside. Here comes Torborg. Petzold up to 3rd. Torborg, Holm, Petzold. No, it's not going to work. It's still side by side. How are they not crashing at the moment? And Petzold sees them all off. No, he's gone wide at the corner. Here comes Holm back in once again. It's side by side down the straight. Holm is now right behind. And Petzold, choose your line. What do you do? Do you go for the inside? Do you go for the outside? Petzold goes for the middle. There goes Torborg around the outside. I'll see you all up, he said.
Wow!
What a move!
Tallberg. Tremendous move by Tallberg. Left it so late on the brakes, lowered the banking on the top of that corner, and takes the position from Adrian Holm. And now Tallberg's going to have a look for that 3rd position.
There's a replay. And there we go. That's what you can do if you just brake on the normal line. You just use that longer braking zone, get your car ahead, and sweep around the outside. Thank you very much. And Holm has made a mistake. Oh, he's off the track. He's not going back from there. He's gone off in the Rietveld area.
What happened? Oh, yes. This final corner's caught so many drivers out into the barrier.
He's flipped over. Wow. And he's out of the race because he can't get back on the track from that position. Incredible stuff. Rieveld's back to 5th.
Heartbreaking stuff.
Torborg could get a podium out of this after being back in the pack.
Come on,
Heinz is back to 8th. Incredible stuff. This is just incredible stuff. And Brent is now 3.3 seconds away from Simon Kilo. Kilo is cruising to his 6th Touring Pro Series, winning his first in the Virtual V8 Supercars. And this will make it 3 wins from 5 for Precision Motorsports if he just keeps it the way it is.
looks like this one is definitely advantage Kilo. He can just back off at this point. Only a lap and a half to go here.
I'm surprised that Brent's pulling away in the final few laps. You know, I really am. Obviously, I think Kilo has a slightly more speed than Brent, but Brent's out-qualified him and had better tyre life in race 1. And at the end of the first stint as well, Rivio into the pits. Oh dearie me! How on earth has that happened? Rivio didn't need to do that in race 1. Why has he changed his fuel load?
Yeah, it looks like he's just got to put more fuel in the car.
He's just gifting positions away.
Yeah, just so sloppy from the top drivers.
Oh, I mean, why isn't he just wrap them up and give them a pretty bow?
Yeah, it looks like Petzold, he's got third position on lock at this point. He's got about a 7/10 gap to Jasper Tallbrink, and the guy who's going to be absolutely thrilled with this is Darren Adams, obviously the Core Racing manager. Core Racing, they've lost Chris Hack kind of to ice cold. They've lost some of their top drivers. To have Heinz Petzold come out here today and put this tremendous effort into his event. Ooh, and he's got to deal with this lap traffic here. Oh no,
well, that's crazy stuff there. That's Rivio out of the pits. Not helping.
Let's see what
and here comes Torborg now. Torborg has a small race on the last lap. We'll have to stick with Simon Kilo. Actually, Kenko's not quite around the track just yet. And Petzold just holding that inside line. Oh, and Torborg's hit it. Oh, sideways. And now Revo's going to take Torborg. Revo's going to take Torborg. It's another twist in the championship. It's another twist in the championship. And Rietveld from nowhere is going to take 4th spot after 2 mistakes. Petzold's going to take 3rd. Kilo, though, is going to take the win. THR self-destructed. Precision have taken advantage. It's 2 wins from 2 for Precision. It's Kilo's first Virtual V8 Supercars win. 2nd place, again the bridesmaid, Kevin Brents. 3rd place for Heinz Petzold. He flashes his legs across the line. He's delighted. 4th place, and that's a great recovery drive from Jeffrey Rietveld after 2 errors. Although, of course, he shouldn't be really doing those 2 errors. It should have been a win for him. But disappointed overall in that general idea. 5th place for Jesper Torborg. And he didn't need to go for that that 3rd place and Petzold. It wasn't going to happen. And he hit the back of him. And, of course, then got caught up with his own teammate tapping around as he was sideways across the track. And there was 5th spot for Torborg. 6th spot to Eric Strawn. He got 12 places in that race. Excellent race. But we didn't see much of him at all. He just quietly picked him off. Thank you very much. 7th place, Toby Davis. I think he would have won that race. I think he would have gone straight up to Kilo and Brent, where Kilo and Brent were battling.
Yeah, exactly.
He came out ahead of Adrian Holm, who was ahead of Strauss, who was ahead of Rietveld, who was ahead of Torborg and Petzold. So that's how much Davis lost that one. And I think it would have been a 2nd place at the very least for Toby Davis. 8th place for Matty Orban. There he is. Another good result for the DPG Motorsports driver. He's back with the band. Great to see him back. 9th place for Rasmus Salo. Quietly once again. 10th place to Tommy Oyala. He kept his head this time around. 11th place Robert Gerdig. That's a good recovery drive from him. We saw him off earlier on. 12th Kevin Angwin. He'd be very pleased with that. 13th Florian Strauss. 14th Matt Richards. He'd be pleased with that also. After a promising position in race 1 ended with an unscheduled pit stop.
Doing a little burnout there.
He's pretty happy with that. 15th place Kevin Enderman. 16th place David Junt. 17th was Rosemeyer. 18th in the end was Eunice Rivio. Oh, dearie me. And that means Rosemeyer got Rivio on the final lap as well. So, GPG Motorsports, look at that. They've got 17th, 12th, and 8th. They'll be very pleased with that indeed. And 19th place Rob Taplin. And 20th place Bruno Sousa Ferreira. But if one word was going to sum up that event, Danny,
chaotic.
It's going to be mistakes.
Chaotic.
And if one sentence is going to make it, let's be high-level mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, elementary mistakes from the highest level of drivers, and that's not what we're used to seeing at all.
Yes, we usually see that type of thing through midfield, but it was the guys at the absolute head of the field that were making mistakes. But, I mean, personally, I have to tip my cap to Rietveld for, falling through the grid like he did. But at the end, get 4th, that's just great championship stuff. Helps Precision in the drivers, in the team's championship. It helps, obviously, Rietveld maintain the edge over Tallbrink. And Tallbrink, he had a chance to take points away from Rietveld's title lead, and he absolutely blew it going after Heinz Petzold there at the end. So, I mean, it's kind of a bunch of shoulda, coulda, wouldas there, but at the end of the day, Precision do have the advantage, and it was a great race to watch.
Excellent stuff. And also in Division 2, of course, remember there are 2 divisions racing at the same time. We have this division and Division 2 racing simultaneously, and we get promotion relegation spots in terms of points in the championship. And in Division 2, it was Paul Crawford who took the first race. Chris Butcher, who's returned to Virtual V8 Supercars, who took that the second race win there. So look out for those guys to appear in a Division 1 show near you soon. We'll be right back with a few of the driver interviews just after a few videos. Sit back, enjoy, grab yourself a drink, whatever.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Okay, we're back now live from the third round of the Virtual V8 Supercars 2013 Championship. We saw two chaotic races, we have to say, here today, and it was Precision, though, who came out on top after THR pretty much pressed the self-destruct button. And we're going to now talk to those drivers who took part in that race. First of all, we'll talk to who will now be the championship leader and the winner of race 1 and 2 pole positions, Jeffrey Rietveld. You had superb pace today here, Jeffrey. Obviously, race 1 was fantastic, but race 2, we saw what happened with going off of that corner. Did you expect that? It seemed to be a problem area for the Precision cars.
No, it wasn't really a problem area. It was more like concentration failure, really.
Getting a bit bored up front.
Yeah, indeed. And I saw Tolborg behind me, so I had worn tires and he had fresh tires because he pitted really early. So yeah, I saw him closing
it's a new
down.
sneaky THR tactic, I see.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm joking.
Worked out.
But of course, you made another mistake, obviously, down at the hairpin, hitting the back of Asbury and Holm. Was that because of the damage, or just because you were under pressure to go faster, or what was that?
No, I wasn't really under pressure to gain positions. I was like a fifth. It's okay, even though I spun. But yeah, my car was completely damaged after I hit the tire barrier there. The front was damaged, the rear and the side. So I couldn't overtake Adrian, while I still had a bit better pace, I think, because there was so much time on the straight because of the damage. And then, yeah, I just broke a little bit too late for the hairpin and hit him in the back.
Yeah, and of course, superb, obviously, pace throughout this event, and congratulations for that. It really was fantastic to watch. But what's been the difference from from Barbagallo to here?
I did some setup work here compared to Barbagallo. Tested one day with Stoffel, just an hour or so, and he found something great in the setup, and yeah, it helped. So thanks to him.
Yeah, so if you're going to enlist the help of somebody, you may as well enlist the help of a future Formula 1 driver, Stoffel van Dorn.
Exactly.
And not a bad person to ask, it has to be said. Congratulations to you, Jeffrey, once again. A first and a fourth and 2 pole positions. Could easily have been 2 wins, but there you go. That's the breaks, and you made the most of what happened after that. It was a good recovery drive considering those 2 spins. But Danny, you've got his teammates.
Yeah, Simon Kieloff, you finished, first race obviously didn't go as strong as maybe your teammates did in Rietveld, but second race, you absolutely stole the show. You were able to even pass Brents for the lead. I mean, were you surprised that you were in that position to even challenge for that race after how things had went?
Yeah, really, up to the practice up to this race, I wasn't really so fast, like 8, I think. But in race 2, I was just waiting to people to see if they could crash together or something, and they luckily did. And Jeffrey made a fail, so yeah.
Now, about your championship as a whole, you currently sit 9th without today's results, obviously. How confident are you moving forward that you'll be able to ascend up the grid, or up the order rather, and even challenge for the title?
Yeah, I feel I got much better chance to the title now. I've improved a lot in the last 3 races, so yeah, it's getting better.
Well, very nice, man. Obviously, congratulations for your race win. And now I know Ryan Collins with THR headman Toby Davis. And Ryan, I believe. Well, listen,
Sorry, I am here. I'm just talking on mute like a noob. I do apologise. Yeah, I'm going to speak to Toby quickly though. I'm going to take credit for Sam and Kilo's win because I told them how to drive the hairpin. Anyway, Toby Davis, you had the potential for two very good results here, and self-imploded in race 2.
Yes, as per usual, I double pressed the pit limiter button, which was fun, and it really went back up to like 40 mile an hour or something. I was like, please don't oversped, please don't oversped, and then got to the end of the pit lane and drive to a penalty. So I could have had a podium actually because
we thought you could have won that race actually. In fact, 'cause
Yeah.
you joined ahead of Adrian Holm. You
Yep.
fought hard to fight him off, and then obviously Brent was fighting with Kilo, and you're only 5 seconds behind. You could have caught them.
once
At
again,
least second place, we thought.
yeah, once again had much better tyre wear than I had last season, and that done a few setup tweaks for Barbagallo, and they applied here as well, and yeah, it was looking really good. But obviously I was happy with second place in race 1. Rietveld was impossible to catch in race 1. He was absolutely insane. So congratulations to him.
But what do you think of the inability here of THR to take advantage of that gift that Rietveld had given you?
Yeah, well, we had 1 or 2 contacts ourselves with other drivers as well that well, I'm not necessarily too impressed with from 1 or 2 of the THR drivers. So we'll have a bit of a discussion about that. But to be honest with you, it's still a reasonable round. Quite frankly, Kevin performed extremely well himself. So I'm very pleased for Kevin the results he got. So it's nice to see Kevin up there. Obviously, he qualified on pole here last year, so he obviously likes this track.
Okay, thank you, Toby. And what might have been really it was today, and several times like THR were going to capitalise in race 2, but it didn't happen. But anyway, on to the next driver, Danny.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to Heinz Petzold, the core racing driver. I mean, Heinz, 15th in the standings coming into the day, but you absolutely look like a front runner, 6th in race 1, and then a podium in race 2. I mean, where did the pace come from?
No idea, Danny. No idea. Lucky, I guess. Been trying to find a setup that could do well in. First of all, congratulations to all the other winners and podiums for today. They were really quick, and it felt really good just to be so close to them today. And I had some really good some really good racing, and just kept my head down and tried to stay as consistent as possible. Really just lucky to see Toby diving off into the pits in race 2 and Rietveld into the back of home in race 2, and I just thought it was just coming together for a very lucky podium, and I was able to hold Jesper off, which was just probably a win in itself for me, really.
Yeah, I mean, we pointed this out during the commentary that so many of the top drivers were running into trouble, had mistakes and whatnot. You were one of the guys that was so consistent throughout. I mean, what's going through your head when you're seeing these top drivers constantly fall off like that and make mistakes that allow you to get further and further up the grid?
Can I say it's funny? No, it's not. I mean, it's just nice to get a good result, but obviously when the top guys are falling off in front of you, it doesn't spoil it that much, but it's just nice to know that you at the end of the day had a more consistent drive, and maybe you actually deserved that result. So I'm gonna leave this race totally happy, and if it doesn't ever happen again, then that's fine. I mean, it's taken me 38 races or something just to get my first sniff of a top 5, and I'll take it.
Well, congratulations to you, Heinz. I mean, a terrific result, not only for yourself, but Core Racing, obviously, they're going to be very happy with this. Now, Ryan, he is with Adrian Holm, one of the fast guys for this afternoon's races.
Adrian, and it was another event of what might have been. All that potential and not quite fulfilling it. We didn't quite see what happened in race 1. What went on there?
Going to race 1, I decided that I would run my qualifying setup, convert it to a race setup, but I forgot to change the brake ducts from 1 to 3, so after a couple laps my front brakes was absolutely destroyed and I couldn't stop it.
And then, where did you go off in race 1? We saw you come into the pits with big damage.
Into turn 6, I just
turn 6.
Nothing happened when I stepped on the brakes.
Straight off. And then, of course, in race 2, you're running very well once again, looking at a 4th spot, and potentially a 3rd spot with fighting with Hines, and obviously with Rietveld making a mistake as well, and you were able to carry on. And then we saw you go over the barriers at turn 6. Was it the same kind of deal, or what?
When Jeffrey hit me, I knew that I had a feeling that things were going to go off from then on, and Heinz had much better top speed, as Jeffrey said. He had some damage to the car, so I was able to hold him off fairly easy, but when he got up to me, just everything, I couldn't hold him off, and then going to turn 6 again, I brake a bit too late, and I just put it on the grass instead of spinning Tolberg out, so...
Yeah, you've obviously got great pace and good qualifying, and the 1 lap pace is there, and the race pace is kind of almost there, isn't it? What do you think you need to do to, apart from stopping crashing, of course, what do you think you need to do to get that potential into race results?
I don't think these sprint races suit me as well as the longer ones, but definitely stop making small mistakes, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Put a bit more time into the car, and we'll be there soon enough.
Well, hopefully you can be, because you've obviously got excellent potential, and it's always a real shame to keep talking about your potential rather than the race results. And we're hoping to see an improvement throughout the rest of the season, Adrian. So good luck for that. Danny, you've got Kevin Brent, who had probably his best Touring Pro Series event of his career.
Yeah, Kevin, I mean, you were phenomenal in Q today. 2 front row starts. I almost got pole position twice. Pretty much since Melbourne, you've been one of the stronger drivers in the series, especially on these sprint tires. So how did your event go today?
Qualifying went okay. I think I could have done a lot better than that. The first race was alright. I ran my main set, and then on the second race I ran my second set, which I really regretted after I saw Rietveld flying up in the air there. I was wishing I had my first set on.
So yeah, that's the thing. Once Rietveld went off, everyone was kind of paying you to then win the race. And so you're saying that your original setup, you switched it, and that's why you couldn't maintain the pace you had in race 1?
Yeah, in race 1, the first opening laps, I was just kind of being conservative. I was hoping, to make it to lap 24 or so. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they'd start burning up their tires, which wasn't the case. They were able to slide and be just fine with it. And I had to switch it up there and made a few changes in a warm-up, and it was okay. It was turning a lot better in a few turns, but it was so... I don't know, it was on edge going in the hairpin. It was so inconsistent with its slide. Braking was just terrible. I was on my limit every single time, and I think Kilov was just on my ass. He was just closing it down each lap.
Now, you're so far with obviously discounted results from the day. You're 7th in the Drivers' Championship. Then obviously you're going to send up that board a little bit after today's results. But what's your outlook on the championship as a whole? Perhaps you can finish top 3 or maybe even win it. Is that something that's crossed your mind at this point?
Not really. I never raced for points. I don't think I've ever won an individual championship because I don't think I've ever finished a full season on anything. So yeah, I don't really race for points. I just kind of go at it, and where I wind up, I wind up.
Fair enough. Well, good results today, Kevin. Solid result for THR Red, despite the loss of your teammate William Levesque. And that pretty much wraps up our driver interviews. Yeah,
some interesting points there as well from our drivers, Danny, and what an event that was as well. We saw toing and throwing all the way through. We didn't think we'd see too much toing and throwing with the race winner, but we did in the end.
We did. I mean, we thought that Rietveld had everything on lock, but then that one mistake, which caught actually Precision Cars out for the whole day, turned the race on its head. And at the end of the day, we saw another Precision Car win the race instead of Rietveld, but it was still very confusing as to who was going to get the job done.
Absolutely. So make sure to tune in next time. We didn't manage to do announce the winner of the the GamePod GT1 wheel stand actually in between the two races. We were too excited in between the two races to tell you about that. But the winner of the GT1 wheel stand from GamePod is Will Long. So congratulations to Will Long. We'll announce it on our Facebook. We'll send you a message on Facebook to confirm the prize and confirm your delivery details as well. So congratulations to you. Make sure to tune in for more prizes in the coming months. In the coming months also some Tom Holmes Cole memorabilia, some tickets to Donington to watch the V8 Supercars coming up also as well, courtesy of Toby Davis. So some good stuff coming up. We do apologise for not announcing that in between the two races as planned, but congratulations to Will Long for winning that. Make sure to tune in on Friday, next Friday. That's your next fix of TPS action. Cascavel, Virtual Mini Challenge 2, round 4 of 6 there, with Butcher and Visa Miller duking it out for the title, and Ice Cold Racing also right in the mix also. And then, of course, our week on Wednesday, we go to the round 4 of the Tom Holmes Cole Clio Series from Thruxton, and Precision and THR are going to do battle once again there. But for now, you can tune in in 2 weeks' time for round 5 from Adelaide. Round 4 from Adelaide in the Virtual V8 Supercars Championship. And until then, take it easy. Make sure to tune in to the TPS and have fun.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing, puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number 1 on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.